to go get Molly from school, and I pulled out right there on 122nd, and I was at the light on 122nd MacArthur, and I was stopped at the light.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Oh, was he not paying attention? Just
Well,
ran
the
in the
girl,
back?
and yes, I think so. I don't know. I heard her brakes. I heard her, just
How young was she?
yeah, she wasn't
older?
that young because I mean she was like 98. So what would that be? 25, 24, 25? Right?
She was born
No,
in 98?
35.
98? Born in 98?
What's the math on
That's
that?
26.
Okay, I was right.
26.
Okay, yeah. So she was
Still
headed
younger.
to pick up her kiddo from school too. And so I was like,
Was she on her phone?
I'm guessing, but I didn't see her. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't see it.
Well, she came up from behind.
Yeah,
that
I
makes sense.
just stopped at the light and I was just like beep bopping,
Mm.
just doing my thing. And
And then,
like,
ow!
and I heard it, and I that's a familiar sound because I think if we've been on our phones, we've all done it. Hit the brakes, like,
Mm.
oh, we're good. Oh, you're not good,
That's why anytime I do my very best to never be on my phone when I'm driving. But when I do catch myself, I'm like, what are you doing? Put
Yeah.
your phone down.
Yeah.
Just because of.
I think it's such a habit of us, like we just get in there and we just do it and we're like, I don't like to be on my phone in general. Like people make fun of me because it'll be like hours before I respond to text messages or
That's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend too much time on these devices.
it's insane.
Speaking of which, I better make sure mine's on silent. Just the only reason I have mine out is because I saved something that I want to ask you about that
Oh yeah.
took a picture of it just so I could ask you the proper 4 things.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but that's for later on.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah, it's something that Rachel's doing. It's a thing that she's writing. I'm not sure. One of her journaling things.
Okay, cool.
Was one of the questions, and I was like, man, I was like, that kind of sounds right up Crystal's alley. So I'm gonna ask her.
I mean, we'll see if I have the answer. We'll see if I have the answer. I was really hoping to see her.
Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised you actually caught her because usually she's gone before they even get here. But we've had such a busy day, so we actually had to go to the laundromat because our dryer we cleaned houses today, and then you got to wash the towels and everything, and your dryer doesn't work, you can't dry it. So,
man, bringing it back, old school laundromat.
She forgot her phone, so I had to bring her phone to her. And when I got there, I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't been in a laundromat."
Where'd you go?
Doug's Laundry on 50th.
I'm like, I would have to Google it. I don't even know where to go.
Well, there's one just down the street, almost a PCO.
Okay.
So just a little bit east.
There's one actually. I think there's one on MacArthur in Britain or used to be there. I don't know if it's still
There's laundromats
Sunshine Laundry.
MacArthur in Britain.
So where Sunnyside Diner is. I think there's one in that parking lot, but I don't know. I haven't had to use it.
Well, they have redone that whole
you're right
back there.
It's probably not there anymore then.
I don't know. There used to be an AA place back there. I don't know if there still is or not. There used to be an AA meeting place back there.
Wait, did they do it at the church or did they have a building?
They just had a room that was literally.
Okay.
It was the area that burnt down.
Yeah.
Remember when it burnt down?
Yes.
It was the area that burnt down.
Okay.
It was in one of those places right there.
It's so amazing to me. Like I haven't gone far. Like I've been here, and I'm still terrible with directions. I've literally grown up here.
I was gonna say, didn't you grow up on Hefner and Council, like
yes.
in our old Windmill Estates?
Yeah.
And everything?
Yeah. It's really bad.
You're born and raised Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was born in Colorado, but my dad was a salesman. And he traveled all over, and we were in Colorado. I was born there, and then like 4 weeks after I was born, we moved to Oklahoma.
Why did they come here?
His job. Oh, yeah, his job sent him here. So
that's what landed our family here.
My mom was like, my brother's 3 years and 9 months younger than me, and she was super pregnant with him, and they tried to get us to move to California. And my mom was like, she drew the line. She was like, I'm done. She was like, either me with you here, or you go.
Yeah.
And so they stayed in Oklahoma. So I was raised in Okie instead of a surfer girl.
This is a really nice place.
No, I love it. I love it.
It's not a bad place. It's getting a little bit too busy.
It is.
It seems like me and Rachel talk about it all the time. Like over the past 5 years, just.
Is that coming with age though? Is it like?
I don't think so, because me and Rachel both noticed that, like, so we remember when you used to take the highways around here, it was not as
Yeah.
jam-packed as it is now, and I'm
Yeah.
not talking about rush hour.
Yeah.
I'm talking
No,
about
anytime.
10 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
or 1 p.m., when you should have pretty good free flowing traffic. At least that's the way it used to be, but now there's clusters of cars everywhere. Like it's not.
I'm like habitually like right on time, like almost late. I didn't used to be that way. I used to be like crazy perfectionist on being on time, but it's something after kids. Like I don't know, something changed. I just don't have the same time. I don't know, or maybe I always did it and I
So
just
you
didn't
are late
realize
or
it.
you are on time?
I'm like, to me, I'm in my mind, I'm late because I'll be like right on time. Like I'll
Yeah,
show up. I'm supposed to be here at 6, and I show here
at 6.
at it. It was 5:50, 5:55, I think 5:56. But yes, so
I
like,
like to be everywhere about 15 minutes early.
see, I want to do that, and as I'm like putting my makeup on, like refreshing because I worked and then I got rear-ended. I get home, I start prepping dinner, and then I'm like trying to put my makeup on and trying to call and file a claim at the same time.
Yeah.
Because that's what Chris is like, "Oh, you got plenty of time." I'm like, "Babe." Finally, I was like, "They're making me use an automated system." I'm like, "I'm tagging you
hate
in."
automated
And
systems.
he goes, "I'll just
And he
take care of
knows
it."
insurance.
Well, yeah,
Like,
he was an agent for
yeah.
a long time, and it's with Farmers, which is who this person has. So I was like, "Can you please just handle it?" Like, he's like, "Don't worry about it." I think he offered before. I probably just said it in my head, and he was just like, "I'm gonna do this for you." I was like, "Thank you," because I really don't want to be late. And then as like I have like 2 minutes, I'm trying to leave, and my son's like, "Mom, I really want to show you this like obstacle course I built in the backyard." And I'm like, I love you, but like for once in my life, can I not be late for something? Like I just don't want to be late. I want to be on time. And they were so cute. And my daughter was having a meltdown at the same time because her friend wasn't able to play. And then,
That's a huge travesty.
yeah. And I hear Chris, I hear Killian who's upset that I'm not looking at his obstacle course. I hear my daughter crying. I hear my husband who's like, "Baby, I'm working on dinner. You have a lot of big emotions right now." Like, and he's trying to like juggle everything, and which is the Baker household. So that's pretty much my life.
That's good.
But yeah, that goes back to the directions thing. Like I have been with Chris so long. This sounds so terrible. There's so many things about our lives that we're not codependent, but like he drives me everywhere. Like I
You
don't
don't need to know
I don't pay
directions.
attention. I don't know. I'm putting on my makeup, taking selfies, whatever. I'm doing whatever I want to do.
Rachel's the same way because
Listen to my music.
when I'm with her, I'm driving. So when she goes, even still, like she uses her directions to get places.
Oh, I still do everywhere.
Hmm.
Like my brain doesn't go, Crystal, where 50th and Council is. Like where I still don't like I know how to get there, technically
You
speaking.
can't see it in your head.
I can't. I cannot do this.
See, I can. Maybe it's a dude thing, but I can picture it in my head. Like,
But you know what? No, what it is that you start to rely on other things. Like you start relying and you get lazy. Like the only time I've lived anywhere other than here, I lived in Norman for 8 or 9 months after I graduated high school. I wasn't going to OU. I had no money. I paid for all my college out of my pocket, with a little bit of help here and there, but for the most part, it was me. But my friend lived in Norman. She was going to OU, and I just wanted to move away. I just want to move. I just want to get
free.
out of Oklahoma City. I also broke up with Chris.
Oh wait, y'all were together in high school?
Yeah.
Right?
We went to different schools, but we met.
Yeah.
We met at Tibbins Pie Place, which used to be there on Expressway and like County Line.
Okay.
Or not County Line, Council.
Okay.
In between County Line and Council. You know where the Taco Bell is?
Mm-hmm.
And it's Intrust Bank on the other side. I
Mhm.
think it's Intrust. That building used to be Tippins. They bulldozed it
Okay.
and built it into that bank several
Okay.
years ago. But so we met there when we were 17. Started working there together. And I had the biggest crush on him. But yeah.
Still have the
So
biggest
yeah.
crush on him.
Oh yeah, I still do. 100%. I do. I don't know how, but I do.
It's a good relationship.
No, it's good. It's really good. But yeah, we met
How's it-
there, and I moved away to Norman, and but to the point of that was I had to know my directions in Norman, and I learned them. I learned what north, south, east, and west was. Like I could actually tell you. I knew what streets. Like because back then, like, we're old enough to where, like, I didn't have, like, the GPS on my phone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, you didn't have that.
You're talking about early 2000s.
Yeah, like, I had to learn or I was gonna be lost.
Hmm.
I also learned how to drive a stick going to Norman because my transmission went out on my Camaro, my 96 RS T-top Camaro. It was hunter green. Chris also had a Camaro that was not as cool as mine, and it was purple. But my transmission went out on mine, and I had to drive his car. I had to learn how to drive a stick.
Standard.
In 20 minutes, I drove it from my parents' house in Piedmont to his house in Yukon, and then I drove it from Yukon to Norman by myself because I had to be at work the next day.
Yeah.
Literally learned in 20 minutes and drove myself to another state.
Did you do all right?
I did, except for that it was torrential downpour.
Ooh.
And I lived off of Lindsay, and there was, I can't remember the exit, but maybe it was just the Lindsay Street exit, but it was like a big hill, big hill. And I mean, I literally just learned 30 minutes before how to
Did
drive.
you have to stop on that hill?
I almost hit somebody. Yes, I did. I had to stop at the light and raining, and I rolled back, and the car, behind me honked, and I did everything I could to like hit my brakes, but I made it. I made it. I didn't. We were all good.
Standard is something that is really being phased out of cars.
Yeah,
Really being phased out of cars.
they're really not safe, except for that they're safer about you can't get on your phone. There's no getting on your phone.
That's true.
When you're like doing all this, there's no.
I've seen some people do some things and some standards that.
I mean, I would have never tried it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I feel like you were about to ask me a question, but I felt like, listen.
Oh no!
I'm very much like squirrel, so
You're all right.
I am.
You're all right.
This conversation will be really all over the road.
That's all right. You had to finish your point anyway.
Yes.
I was going to take you somewhere else. I was going to ask you difficulties in marriage, like the length of time that y'all have been together. I'm not talking about anything personal or anything.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into super any details, but just like the difficulty of keeping a relationship together for that long, and then having children, and then falling in and out of love. Like you said, when you were 18, you broke up with Chris, moved to Norman.
Oh yeah, that lasted
girl,
for 2 weeks, by the way, or maybe 3.
But I mean, things like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Gosh, where do I begin on that? I think, first of all, I think I may have put an actual spell on him. Like, I don't really know. Like, I truly think that there might have been some sort of magical presence, like some sort of like witchy
Did you watch The
shit
Craft
that I
in the
did.
90s?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I love that movie. And Practical Magic. Are you kidding me? Sandra Bullock. She's my hero. No, I feel, I don't know. Like, there's times when the way that he is with me, I'm like, literally, how are you still that attracted to me? How do you still like love me like that? But there's a lot of people that look up to us. There's a lot of people that idolize our marriage and idolize our relationship. And to say to that is, one, obviously the cliche, like, don't compare yourself to others, but we people that know us know that we've been through it. Like, there's a lot of people that have been in my life long enough to have seen all of the gross, the ugly, the dark.
I know y'all have been through ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important part is to understand that at the end of the day, you can't look to the other person to make you happy, no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter what part of the relationship it is, whether you're dating or you're married, or, you have to find happiness and joy within yourself. You have to be happy. You have to love yourself. You have to have that self-love. You have to have that awareness of, who am I? Do I enjoy me? Do I like me? Because when you enjoy yourself and you're happy, it's easy to be happy around people you love, because the people we love get the biggest blunt they get the hardest blows of, like, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, people that love you get to see the worst parts of you. And when you get somebody who still loves you through all of that, it's pretty incredible. But just having that self-love, and also always being confident in your relationship to allow the other person to grow. Like when we were younger, my biggest insecurities was like when he would start to like want to try something new or go out and I don't know, it was silly, but it was like, oh, you're not happy anymore, you want to move on. Like even if it was like a career change or whatever. Like I used to actually be pretty insecure about other women. Like I had a hard time with it. And a lot of that comes from the self-worth that I believed I had growing up and how I felt it was important. Like how I felt I the best ways to get love and affection
Mhm.
were through sexuality and basically giving myself up, my body up in ways that really like I'm hoping I can teach my daughter better. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And I did it with Chris too. And so honestly, like our love developed into thank God into so much more, but you have to know like your self-worth and bring that to the table and then give that person the opportunity for growth. Like he would do the same thing with me. Like I think everybody does where you get insecure like, oh, my partner's not happy anymore. Oh, why are you wanting to hang out with those new friends? Why do you want to try this new thing? Are you not happy where you are?
Yeah.
But that's taking it personal,
Mhm.
right? It's not about you.
Absolutely.
It's not about you. It could be about you, but that gives you an opportunity to reflect.
Yeah.
Like, look in the mirror, what's going on? And Chris and I separated in 2010 for
Were you
about 6 months.
married at the time?
We were married. We were
Okay.
already married. We got married in 2007. So it was closer to 2011. Um, and we were separated for about 6 months. And it took me, so basically like there were, stuff went down. There were some things, there were mistakes made on both parts. And I didn't realize how unhappy he was. And some of that was himself and some of that was me. And it actually took me years before I sat down and went, "You know what? I chose to forgive him," right? Like, when we got back together, I chose to forgive him. I always said that to him and everybody else, like, if I'm choosing to stay in this marriage, I owe it to him to forgive and let go of the past. If I dwell on it, it's just gonna continue to be a toxic marriage, and there's no point in moving forward. Just move on to somebody else, right?
Mhm.
So I did give him that, but it took a long time. It took a lot of time for trust and get, building that trust back, building that connection back. I made him date me. I made him work for it for about 6 months. Like, and I stayed in my apartment and, we did all of that. But like years later, I started kind of really diving deep more into me, doing the shadow work, doing, the yoga, the retreats and doing yoga and like really looking at myself. And I still have so much work to do, but I had this realization like, you have to take some self responsibility for this. He, you are really unhappy and you weren't the happiest person to be around.
Mhm.
And for years, I blamed him. I was like, this is like, you're the jerk that did this and you did this to me. And
When all along it was all inside.
well, not I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, you don't excuse the decisions
Yes.
that were
No,
made,
absolutely. Like,
but no, but there was a lot to it, and when we first got back together, one of the things that's actually what got me to yoga. Um, I'll take a step back. So we went to marriage counseling. In all honesty, he didn't really want to do it. He did it because he felt like he owed it to me. He didn't really commit to it. He didn't really open up in therapy. I continued to go to that person after he said the words, "I want a divorce." Like, that was his choice. That's when I got my own apartment. Um, I continued to go to her, and she recommended a book called The Four Agreements. Have you read it or heard of it?
mm-mm.
Man, you need that book.
The Four
You may not,
Agreements.
yeah, and you
Okay.
might not need it at this point in life, but it's a great read. That book changed my life. That book gave me an understanding of like what to look for, like what to be, and how to be. Um, and it's the four agreements that you make with yourself. And I can't tell you all the ins and outs because it's been so many years since I've read it, but it basically s- started with this like I don't want to misspeak. I feel like it's like an Aztec tribe. It started with a tribe, basically like a medicine man, these shamans, and it was only passed down to their sons, basically.
Other
And
shamans.
and they developed this, these steps, these agreements, and they're just it's just like a thing to live by. And there's a fifth agreement, and it's the Toltec tribe. And I can't remember what's the author's name. I have it. I think
Look it up.
it's Miguel Ruiz. Yeah, Miguel Ruiz. I don't know how that's coming back to me. He's an author. He was part of that tribe. His family's part of that tribe. So he wrote these books. There's the Fifth Agreement. There's a couple other ones. All phenomenal books. So that kind of changed me, shaped me. I told my husband when we got back, I was like, I want to teach yoga. So I started getting certified. So that was my first time around getting certified.
Remember when you were teaching yoga heavily?
And it's so weird because sometimes I feel like a fake, like a fraud, because it's not one. It's like I'm more fiery than that. Like I'm not a natural like yogi, like Zen type person. I'm not. I'm more now than I was, but I'm just I have more energy than that, So, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like you see like Zen people. Like that's not me. I'm more uptight, type A.
Yeah.
Right
Go-getter.
now I call myself a recovery people pleaser.
Okay.
That's a big term I use for myself. Because we all have that in us and we all do it. But
we want
yeah.
people to like us.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
social animals.
Exactly. So, but I went to Yoga Life in Norman, and with Becca Hughes, she's written a phenomenal book. She's an incredible person. I haven't seen her in years, but incredible woman. And doing that yoga really brought me to different parts of my life. And then really even just yoga that I do now, I feel like it's weird how we unlock things in our brains. Like you've seen some things over and over and over again over the years, and then all of a sudden you have this new epiphany about that one thing, and
Kind
you
of
go,
like it all clicks in your head.
yeah, and you go, wow, whoa, what was that? Like me referring to, kind of realizing that a lot of the things that Chris and I went through were not all on him, and not having that victim mentality. And but yeah, so going back to him, he's just like I said, I don't know, he's obsessed with me. It's kind of weird. Like he's so obsessed with me.
Stage 5 clinger.
He really
He's
is.
got beautiful hair though. I'm really jealous of that.
You know what? It's like I joke so much about
Even
this.
with the silver.
It's a sore subject for me because I used to get compliments on my hair like all the time. Like, and my hair's not nearly like as thick as it was before kids, all the things. But it's like nobody will even look my way anymore with the hair because
You got that
they just
silver
see that
fox
silver
next to you.
fox and they're just like, oh,
Is it still long? Like
yes, yeah.
I think he had it when he was on the podcast. I think he had it up.
When it starts flipping out over his shoulder, I'm like, it's time to cut it.
Yeah.
I like it about here, right above the shoulder. Who is that I say he looks like? Oh man, I can't think of it. He's an actor, Kurt Russell. He reminds me of Kurt Russell at times. I don't know.
Like in the 80s, like with this.
Yeah, like a. Am I thinking of the right person?
Kurt Russell was in the Escape from New York movies. He was in
I think that's who I'm
Overboard
talking
with Goldie. He's married to Goldie Hawn.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. There's a couple. Anyway, there's a couple actors he
Hudson's,
kind of
I think
reminds
they're
me
kid.
of. Yes, I love them. But yeah, no, that hair is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
it's pretty
it is.
incredible.
I miss being able to.
I know.
I used to have long hair like that too at one point in time. Well, 30 years ago.
But you have a great beard though. You do. You have a nice beard.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Still not as good as hair.
Well, I don't know. I think there's like, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's like me turning into my 40s, but like there's something to be said about a good looking bald guy. Sorry, Rachel.
Luckily, I have a good bald head.
Mm-hmm.
There's some dudes with bald heads that I'm like, fuck, your head is shaped weird, bro. That doesn't look
like the 1990s like Conehead situation.
No, even more warped than that. Like I saw one guy one day, he had a flat part of, I don't know what happened in his life, but part of his head was flat. He was bald, and it just looked like, dude, put a helmet on.
I've always been curious what I would look like bald. Like I'm curious. Like I don't know if I'd have a nice head or not.
You look
And
like you have a good hair.
I don't. You never know, man.
Well,
you never know.
Girls look weird bald anyway. I mean, even Sinead O'Connor in the
Oh,
90s
come
still
on.
looked weird. Like I still wasn't digging the short hair.
Okay, what was
Wasn't
the
my short hair is not really my
what's her face from GI Jane?
Demi Moore looked
Demi Moore.
really hot.
Okay, yes, that was
But
hot. She's
Demi
like the only
Moore,
one.
Demi Moore from the eyes down is ridiculously gorgeous anyway. In the
You're right.
90s.
You're right.
So even without hair, dudes ain't looking at the hair.
I know.
So
I know.
she did striptease in the night. Like
There's
Demi
the-
Moore's ridiculously hot,
You're right.
especially in the 90s.
What about Halle Berry? She has like real short hair. It's not shaved. Well, although I think she's probably shaved it.
I know she's had it short, but
Yeah,
see, colored women is different.
that's
Like
true.
it's different for colored women. It
You're
really is.
Yeah, I mean
Each-
you're right.
each ethnicity,
It's
like
like a vibe.
well, short hair on anybody. I mean, well, not I guess not really Asians, but black African descent, like short hair on them is looks good.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an ethnicity thing.
maybe
but
it's
I-
just what you're used to seeing.
Maybe. But I can't imagine an Asian one bald headed.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I can't think of any like just like off
Yeah.
the top of my
Not off
head.
the top of my head.
Maybe like a model or something. It's like a tall model.
Not a female.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm not sure what Halle Berry is, but I'm pretty sure she's part black.
Yeah, she's
I don't
I
know if
think
she's mixed.
she might be
with
black and
anything.
white. I'm
Yeah.
not positive, but
But for black women,
You're right.
short hair looks good on.
well, I've only had short hair one time in my life, and that was when Chris and I separated. So
How short
never
did it go?
happen again.
Short.
I had an inverted like the early
The
2000s
haircut.
bob.
The
It was
Karen haircut.
it was shaved in the back.
Oh, and it was up high and then
And-
kind of came down.
Yes, and it was longer on one side than the other. So if I tucked my hair here, it was like real short, and then I had like the bang, like the swoop, the early 2000s like swoop
You had
bang.
the John and Kate +8. She had that
Kind
haircut,
of,
similar.
But I don't. Did hers spike? I feel like
I think her
yours-
spike.
Yeah, mine wasn't that bad. I don't know who to compare it to.
Did you like it?
I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of fun, like kind of sassy, but then not really. I
See,
thought it'd be easier, and it's actually not easier than long hair.
Rachel talks about cutting her hair off all the time, and every single time I tell her no because she cut it off once, she bobbed it, and that I don't even know if we were dating at the time. She's like, "Don't ever let me cut my hair again, no matter what I say. You tell me no." And she argues with me every time she wants to cut her hair. No, you're not doing it. Nuh-uh.
That's how I feel about bangs. Like I keep wanting them so bad, but I'm like, the moment I do it, I know I'm gonna regret it. I had it when I was like 5, and I keep thinking I can pull it off. I want to pull it off, but I just am not willing to do it.
Ooh, bangs look really good on. Can you think of anybody off the top of your head? Campbell had them in the 90s, like Scream movies. Like she had bangs.
I don't know. I just like the really shaggy look, like
Mhm.
bangs and like shag. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's very like hip. No, I mean I don't know either. I'm 41 years old. I was walking around Target the other day going, okay, I really need to like up my like nicer clothing wardrobe down and like the hobo down, but like then like finding like cute like blouses and things like suit pants, and I'm so bad at it.
That's hard for women.
I don't know how any of this goes together, I'm getting old. Like, I don't know.
Rachel has a good like business casual look that you go with,
Yeah.
and then the long wider, like the legs are wider on them. They're not tight on her legs. They're really nice on women, especially business casual.
I have seen that and I really love that.
Touche.
So I love that look. And
But you
even the
never will.
as my dad would call them, like elephant pants type, like the big wide legs that are like above the ankle.
Mhm.
You have to be, I don't know. I think you just have to be 20 years old and like tiny and whatever for that to work. I don't know. I've seen it on a couple women
Well,
and I'm like, oh, that looks really amazing on you. But on me, I'm just like,
I was gonna say
no,
if you were to see it in a
it's not
magazine
necessarily
or
the age.
online, it's probably a 5'11" girl,
Exactly.
you
I
know,
don't know what it is.
22 years old,
Yeah.
thin as a board.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm appreciative to be part of the curvy curvier side of things on certain parts, but yeah, no, there's certain pants that's tough for me, especially the height.
Talking about your rump, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the backside. I
The
mean,
backside.
I'm not obviously, no, I mean, I love my body, but, yeah, no, there's parts. My thighs and my legs are probably my, like, least like, where I'm most insecure. It's like I gained 5 pounds and it's like, "What happened?"
Mine's all gains right
Yeah,
here in this
in the
midsection.
mid.
Yeah. But that's
It's
for most dudes.
I was
Most
gonna
dudes,
say
like
that's really normal.
yeah.
Even if you like lift and like work out, and I mean, gosh, you have to tell me more about what you've been doing. I know you've been working out, you've been running, been being healthy.
Well, training for long runs like ultra marathons and things like that.
When's your goal for your first one?
Next March, I want to do a 50-mile in Moab, Utah.
What?
I know. 50 on your feet.
Wow,
Like that.
that's insane. How does that work? Do you take breaks or you
I don't
just
know.
keep going? You don't know yet?
I'll find out in March.
March
I
what?
had a ultra marathon on here a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Her name's Julie. Um, and she told me a little bit about her experience and stuff. But like, you have checkpoints and stuff where people give you like water, supplements that you might need, things, Vaseline. If
Do
you're,
you stop at all?
no,
Other than
it's go until you. I mean, I'm sure that people have teams. Like from what I've seen online, people do have teams, and like when you get to your team, you can sit down for like 10 minutes, eat some ramen noodles, whatever. But that seems to be more on like the 100-mile races, which is also something I
you
want to do.
need something for 50.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure people
Yeah.
do stop and sit down for like,
Yeah.
and there's no saying you'd be in the middle of the trail and I'm gonna sit down for 10 minutes, give my legs a rest,
You're right. There's
and
probably no
you
rules on
know,
that. Like, just you're
because
doing
it's you have a certain amount of time to complete it,
it. Okay.
and then the person who completes it the fastest is obviously the winner, and then
So
everybody
there's still
follows.
races. There's still somewhat of a competition.
Yeah,
They're
no,
not
for sure.
just
It's
running it.
it's an absolute race. My goal for it is just to
Right.
you know
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
to complete the 50 and the 100, and then next year I want to win a race, and that's gonna be hard.
That's awesome.
That's gonna be really hard.
That's some
I'm
really big,
I'm gonna need a
incredible
team for that
goals.
one.
I love that. I ran when I was in middle school and like the beginning of high school. But I didn't do anything on that. And I felt like it kind of didn't do great on the knees, but
I love running. I don't. I've always loved it.
I wish I loved like I like it, but I'm not good at it anymore. So that's probably why I don't love it. I can't go very far anymore. I could go maybe a mile or two at this point, but I just haven't practiced. I'm out of practice.
The trick is to just add about 10% at a time, so you don't hurt yourself, especially at our age.
Oh god, I feel like I'm hurting
Like,
myself every other day.
We're not recovering 20-year-olds that just snap back the next day.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that the
Like,
truth?
I remember before I quit drinking, hangovers would last for days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I can't. Chris and I have had like weekends where like the kids have been gone all weekend and we've had different like social events and things and maybe like we'll take advantage of it because our kids are gone, right? We'll be like,
Mhm.
okay, let's just still go out, right? I'm like, we can't do 2 days anymore. We cannot go out Friday and Saturday, and I don't even drink that much comparatively
Yeah.
to what I used to drink.
Yeah.
And I can't handle it. I am hungover beyond belief the
I
next day.
I like being in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I also like that.
I thoroughly enjoy being in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I told Chris, I was like, I'm supposed to be, I said, draw said 6 to 9. And he was like, okay, okay. And I was like, I know, I'll be fine. Listen, it's not that I'm asleep by 9. Like, God, no. I mean, we still stay up half the time till 11:30 sometimes watching TV.
Yeah.
It's just like getting in bed. I want to be in bed. Like, I start telling my kids about 8:15. Nope, we're about to be on mom time. It's about to be mommy time.
Hmm.
You need anything, you better get it now because it's mommy time. And then I put them to bed and they get up multiple times. And then one of them shows up and sleeps with me every night. But I at least make them go to sleep in their bed because,
They'll eventually stay away from you.
they know. And
You know how
that's,
kids are.
well, and that's the thing. Like Chris and I have had that conversation because that's very serious for him because that is, yeah, again, has not slowed down in his libido at 41 years old. I'm like, when is this supposed to slow down for me? But I think it's gotten worse. So for him, it's very serious. Kids cannot be in the bedroom. That is our space, right? But I keep reminding him, like, they're only little ones. And our youngest is now not even a toddler anymore. Like, they're big kids. And that's hard for me to handle sometimes.
Yeah.
So my son turned 8 on Friday. And yeah, at 8 going on 20. I mean, he's just so smart and just, yeah, it's crazy. Maturity wise, yeah, we're still at the 8 mark, but
Well,
everything else,
boys will be immature
yeah.
their entire
And my
lives.
daughter is 5. So
Yeah.
she's my baby. And it's like, I just had you. How are you 5 years old? But that's just what happens. Like,
Time goes by.
time goes by.
That's what Cohen, Rachel's nephew, he just turned 15. And he's
God.
taller than me,
Yeah.
I think, now.
Yeah. It's so
He's
wild.
working on cars and lawnmowers and trying to start a little mechanic business at the age of 15 already. Like, it's like, dude, I remember when you were this tall.
I
Like,
know.
standing there like, hi, I'm Cohen. You know?
So wild to me. My son's making our breakfast. He cooks.
Mm.
He cooks eggs and sausage on the stove, like by himself. Like he loves to cook. He actually loves that. He loves making guacamole. So he makes guacamole for us. He likes to make my coffee. The kid drinks chamomile tea. It's really cute.
He's going to be a ladies' man. He's going to take care of a woman.
He is. And my daughter, she's just gonna know how to be taken care of. I mean, we've got that part in the bag. Chris has got that in the bag. So there's actually this song. Are you familiar with Jax, the female artist Jax?
No.
Okay, so Secret.
Okay.
Victoria's Secret was made. I just, a lot of people know that song, so that's like the reference. I don't actually know that many of her songs, like my father. Oh, I cannot obsessed with this song now. And she's going to be a singer. She's going to be a performer. She loves music. She's actually getting ready to start piano lessons with my mother-in-law. So I'm really excited about that. I find to love the way that my father loves my mom.
Oh, okay.
And the song is like, and she wants to hear it every day on the way to school, every day after school. She wants to hear it. It's up there with Frozen, my playlist, because I realized I need to make sure that I'm really focusing. And so yeah, you have to listen to this song video of her because he has a work phone and a record her in the car with the other, and then he like pans it to himself at the last second, and you just see like he's crying because it gets us every time. And she'll say, "Mom, will you play my love song and will you dance in the kitchen with Dad?" Like she wants to watch us dance to the song. She's obsessed with love.
Sweet.
This little girl is obsessed with love. She can't wait to be a mom. She can't, and I'm like, and I'm over here like, no, you need to
You're
be,
5.
you need to, no, I'm like, you need to be a powerhouse woman. You need to get your career and you don't need to do what mommy did. Not that I regret it, but I don't condone it. I don't recommend it. I don't think that, I think that what we have is incredible and we're so fortunate that we made it because we beat a lot of odds. But I don't regret any of it, but I do think that it's important to really establish who you are. And that goes back to a lot of the things I've already talked about. It's like a thing for me is having that independence from Chris. Having even now, I mean, like we've recently gotten like a little argument about sometimes I just don't feel independent from him. Like, and I don't want to be I don't want to be separate from him. I just want to be more independent.
Mhm.
At 41, and some people see me and see who I am and like what I stand for, and they believe like, oh, she's this strong, independent woman, which I am, but also I rely on him for a lot, and I kind of always have. So I want Noli and my son, not just the girl thing. Like I want both of my kids to really like truly have a good understanding of like who they are,
Before they find love,
and
kind
not
of.
even necessarily before, but like don't focus so much on it. And the fact that she's already obsessed with love, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this girl. And it's not a bad thing. It's beautiful. And I don't want to break that, spirit. She's gonna fall hard. She's gonna get her heart broken. And I'm gonna get my heart broken when that happens. And same with Killian. But and love is beautiful and you should get your heart broken and you should fall in love young. But I also think there's something really beautiful on being like recognizing like, oh yeah, you were fun and move on. You know what I mean? Or oh hey, we're great friends, but maybe not compatible.
Yeah.
Instead of like fighting tooth and nail to make things work, which is sometimes what I did. And it wasn't always the best person. It wasn't a good person. And I had a few boyfriends before Chris, not very many, but I had a few that my parents knew of anyway.
Oh.
Well, uh, just, young love,
Yeah.
like young love, right? 6th grade, 7th grade, boyfriends.
Yeah.
And then
Not real.
I had 2 kind of serious boyfriends before Chris. And, but anyway, yeah, that's a whole nother therapy session. So we won't go into
Sometimes
all
this
that.
feels like a therapy session.
Yeah. And I don't want to do that to you, but with Noli, I just really want to teach her that it's important to know who she is. Like, I don't care. Yes, be a lover, fall in love, love marriage, want to have babies, want to do all of that, but also like, what do you want to do in your life? What
Mhm.
what career? And I'm not even saying chasing money because that's a big topic
Goals and
for me lately.
aspirations.
I think, yeah, just having like passion for something. And I don't know about you, but that's like again at 41, that's been a struggle for me. Like I still don't know what my full passion is in life, and I'm trying to figure it out. Still
And
trying to figure it out.
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at what we're doing. Like
Yeah,
this has become one of my
and I
passions.
love
Is
it.
these conversations that I have with people and recording them and putting them online. Hopefully,
Yeah.
somebody gets something from it. Like
The cool thing about this, that you're doing this, is that this doesn't have to like I'm a firm believer, you don't just have one passion in life. You don't have just one career path. You don't have We can live so many lives in one lifetime. And that is incredibly cool. Like
mhm,
it really is. And you just have to have the guts to do it. And I think we all
that's what
struggle
it
with
is
that.
right there.
Like having the balls to be like, no, I don't actually like that job, or no, I want to do this, or I want to try this. Like even though it scares you, and it's so cliche when they say like the thing that scares you the most should be the thing you try the most. Like this should be the thing that you go towards. But that's so true. And I think that's like incredible, like what you're doing with your running is like having a goal of
50 miles.
50 miles, 100 miles. Like I know that's got to be scary, but I think that's really, really neat. And
Well, that's also one of the reasons why I chase the dreams that I chase is because they scare me.
yeah,
Because it forces me to get out of my comfort zone.
right.
Like at
Yeah,
one point in time, my running, especially when I get to training for the 100-mile race, like I'm going to need to be running at least 100 miles a week just to prepare for that. You know how difficult that is on top of building a business with your wife and then having to go to work and, pay bills and struggle. And I'm not fucking rich. Like it's not like I can just wake up in the morning and go on my however long run, then take a snoozer and then
Yeah.
whatever, like I still gotta go to fucking work. Like I got bills to pay.
Where are you working right now? Did you
Uh,
tell me this?
right now I'm working for a hotel.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna bring up their name.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also work as a dealer. Blackjack recently.
Oh,
I
cool.
just learned the craps table the other night, so I'm gonna be dealing craps. It's for this guy who puts on these real gambling games for private parties,
I was
but
gonna say private event.
they just don't use real money, so it's not a gambling thing.
Gotcha.
Like we still play with chips and everything, and they win prizes at the end of the night.
Okay. Cool.
But it's pretty cool. I picked it up just because I thought it'd be fun.
Well, I think that's another skill to just have.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's just
that's really
understanding
why.
the game.
That's exactly why I picked it up. It's
Yeah.
just the learning of, because like I started with blackjack. Now I'm learning craps, and then there's the poker tables and roulette and all those other things. So
Mhm.
I just thought it'd be interesting, and plus it gives me a few hours randomly one week to talk to random people,
Yeah,
which I enjoy doing anyway.
absolutely.
So I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah. That was a conversation Chris and I had the other day. Was like, I feel like well, first of all, I quit my corporate job of 14 years, and 2 months later, my dad asked me if I wanted to open a nutrition club with him, and I didn't know what I was getting into. um,
I wanted to bring up your spot anyway.
yeah. Um, I am very appreciative of having an opportunity in business, but also to do it with my dad. Topics, a lot of things. He was like a dad. He's really good person, and people love him when they meet him. He's very infectious person about him. He's a salesman, like he's a natural
Yeah, he was
salesman.
very talkative.
Probably trying to pitch you on like all the products that we have, and maybe said something along the lines of we have over 60 flavors. I don't know, but that is like he's all work. Like, man, that man is all work, and that's something but I can't fix. I can't do that for him. He has to do that himself. So I'll leave that alone. But it gave us a like in the beginning, we butted heads a lot. There's a lot of heated discussions over business. But I think we were just a little stressed too, like trying to figure out how to do it because we just didn't understand fully how to do it. Um, but yeah, so I'm very appreciative of that experience. I know that the universe needed me to have that time with him and learn that about each other and just find a place of ground of respect for each other that I don't think we had before. So super grateful for that experience. Also, learning to manage teenagers has not been an easy feat, but it gives me a skill set, like you said. So there's a lot of really great things about it. Is it my forever? No. The answer is no. Hard pass. But that's mostly because of it's a hard world in any sort of multi-level marketing, which is what Herbalife is. It is a hard place to be if you are not doing things a certain way, which I didn't fully learn that right way initially. So I could have done a better job at taking it upon myself to learn it, and I can realize that now and go, you know what? No, we got to point the finger back here because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to like know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know, and you got to learn things, right?
Mhm.
But when you're in the middle of being a mom of two littles, being a wife, trying to navigate all the things at once, those things just kind of slip through the cracks. So it has been a successful business. It's been a great place. I love my customers. I love all of that. And that's the very PC.
The location for it is,
Yeah.
I think, very good.
No, the
Right there
location is
next to
incredible.
Sprouts.
Well, and we are by Orange Theory, which was our focus.
What
was
is Orange Theory?
it's a gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a couple doors down from there is Orange Theory, so that is a gym. It's like I've never worked out there, so I can't really it's a good place. The people there are great too, like the
And then your place is
trainers,
called Daily
the
Boost.
Daily Boost, yeah.
The Daily
Yep,
Boost.
the Daily Boost.
122nd MacArthur.
122nd MacArthur, come in, get an energy tea.
Sprouts, Orange Theory, the Daily Boost.
Yep, and I absolutely love our shakes. I love our products. I really do. We
That,
have
I've
great
been in a
products.
few times. They're really tasty.
Yeah,
They're really flavorful and they're really good for you too.
they are. I mean, there's a couple things like sugar wise. If you're like, it's all sugar free, but we have a couple of store bought flavors and then we have Herbalife flavors. The Herbalife ones are made with just Truvia, and that's kind of what I lean towards
Mhm.
personally, but also it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's some of those flavors people don't like through Herbalife, so we have some store bought ones that make it more enjoyable for people, but it's all like sugar free. Our protein shakes are
That's what I
minimum 24 grams of protein. We can add extra in. So that's really, really great. I love our protein. Honestly, like most protein like bothers my stomach. Ours doesn't. I had a shake today. So yeah, I think it's a really great way for people to help them lose weight. Stay on something consistent. If you have a sweet tooth, it's nice because you can.
It's a great meal supplement too.
Exactly. So, but yeah, for me, it's like if people, they're craving something that's sweeter, but they don't want the calories, the sugar, all of that. Like you can get our protein shake, and it's a great way to go. And yeah, no, I love the products. I
I
love.
get the strawberry banana.
Do you?
I think this is what I got last time.
I
When I
love
saw
the
you.
banana. That's probably one of my favorites. As far as the healthy meal goes, the banana, it's technically banana caramel. You can't really, I wouldn't say taste the caramel part of it that much, but I love that one. I love the banana. The banana nut bread. You gotta try that one next time. It's really good.
Protein shake, banana
Mhm.
nut bread protein shake.
Mhm.
I'll try that next
Because
time.
it's made with that banana. I love it. Or even just like banana chocolate. I love all those. I love all of that. But yeah, no, it's not my forever, but I have really enjoyed doing it. I have. We've been open 2.5 years, so it's wild to me to even think that I've been out of the corporate world for so long.
I don't like the corporate world.
Well, that's kind of what we are talking about earlier. Is like you said, you still have to work your other jobs and then do your passion, right? Like I feel like it's been hard for me to get that fire underneath me because I've been focusing so much on the store and then my kids that I'm like, what is my passion? It's been 2.5 years and I started doing the store immediately. And now I'm like, I still haven't done things that I said I was going to do as soon as I quit the bank.
Yeah.
Like, which I worked for Chase. It was a great bank. There's a lot of pros and cons. It's a big bank. So there's a lot of hoops to jump
Yeah,
through.
it's a big corporation.
And that makes it a lot harder on retail level trying to take care of people certain ways because you can't just call the president and be like, hey, can we get this check cleared for Joe? He's been our customer for 20 years. No, like Chase doesn't, they don't work that way. And for good reason. I mean, I understand all of it.
Mhm.
There's so many regulations. There's so many ways to lose money. Like it's wild. I recently had an opportunity to potentially work at another bank and it fell through. Um,
And had you applied, like gone through the application process,
no,
or
I said I was never ever
somebody-
going to go back to banking, which
somebody offered you a job?
I had somebody approach me and they were trying to pull me out of banking retirement and I was really flattered by that. But I'm in my know my worth era.
That's
So
my thing. That's what my thing is. Like
yeah,
I don't want to make you rich. I want to make me rich because at the end of the day, even if I have a job, at the end of the day, I'm working to better my life.
right.
Why not work to better my life in a way that will actually better my life
Yeah. And these
instead of
guys,
just staying in this job?
I will tell you, the only reason I even considered going back to banking was because of what bank it was and the people there. Like, and I'm not just saying that because I'm being recorded. Like, those guys are awesome. I
Yeah.
love them. One of them I really haven't known that long. The other one worked with me at Chase, and that's why he actually reached out to Chris and was like, "Is there any way you should even talk to us? Whatever." I thought that was really like, gosh, that makes
It's
me feel
flattering.
really great.
It's very flat.
And when I met with them, he told me, he's like, you have a reputation. I was like, really? Like, I don't see myself that way, but that's unfortunate because that's the imposter syndrome that gets in the way.
I have that.
But I gave them a number and it was a high number for me, felt like for me. It's not a high number for everybody. It was what it was for me. And it
What
took
you felt you were worth.
I did, and it was after long consideration. Like, I am very blessed right now in my life that, like, I could go home and take a nap after dropping my kids off at school. Like, I mean, not right now, I'm working at my store a lot, but
Yeah.
when I have full staff, like, I have the opportunity to have that more leisurely life, and I haven't always had that. I've worked minimum 2 jobs most of my life. Um, Before kids, I always had 2 jobs,
Hmm.
always. Um, but I am grateful, and I know how blessed I and how lucky I am to have a husband that's able to support me financially. When I quit my job, he basically was like he'd been trying to get me to quit for a long time because I was really unhappy, and I was getting really stressed out, and I started to have some physical repercussions from that stress. And I'm such a loyal person. Like, I'm a loyal employee, I'm a loyal friend, I'm a loyal like, it's so tough for me to have those, or at least it was hard for me to have those boundaries. Working on that, that's yeah, recovering people pleaser in all directions. So, um, I was really nervous to give them the number that I gave, and, it ended up not working out. I mean, they took a while for them to respond to me, and I thought, "Gosh."
Sounds like maybe they fought to get you whatever you asked for.
Well, I don't know because I feel like if they could have gotten anywhere near, they probably would have counteroffered.
Hmm.
Because that's kinda what I was half expecting, like a counteroffer. Like,
You didn't
okay,
even get a counter.
I shot my sh I sh how do you say it? Shoot your shot, right? I
Yeah.
shot it high, and I thought, well, maybe they'll, come down. But I mean, this was after like long consideration of, okay, right now, my husband supports me financially. We are very comfortable. I am able to be there for my kids for all their school stuff. I'm able to take them to school, make their lunches, go to their field trips, have them when they're on every break they have every 2 months or every month. And then on top of like, okay, this is what I made ending in 2022, or 2022. This is what I made there at the bank at Chase. And I'm trying inflation and all and the freedoms that I have and this and the flexibility, and I'm still running the boost, and I've got to be able to do that. So with all those things, I was like, this is my number, right? And I was really, really nervous about it, but I was really proud of myself for giving that because the number I had in my head when they first talked to me was probably close to 40 less than I asked for, what I thought that I deserved.
Hmm.
And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, no, bitch, you deserve way more than that. I'm sorry, but you do. And they're coming to you. You're not going to them. You're not asking for a job. They're asking you if you'd like to be this person and so I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And it didn't work out, but I really wasn't even sure I wanted it. You know what I mean? So that's why the universe knew like it wasn't meant for me, at least at this time. Again, we had the conversation we had was they basically said, at this point that salary wouldn't isn't in the budget for us. If we develop a role in the future that could be anywhere in that ballpark, like we will definitely think of you. We love you. We think you're awesome. We would love to have you on our team. So you never know. You never know. But I also was like, I don't, and it's not a corporate. I mean, it's a small bank. So I was like, I'll never go back to corporate. At least not in banking. Maybe something else, but no, I don't want to do that. I don't ever want to do that.
It's funny how the universe works. Like the best things that have ever happened to me have just fallen into my
Have you?
life, and I just like you said earlier, you have to have the courage to reach out and grab it,
Yeah.
and go for it and everything. But everything that's
Have you ever
really
done your human
great.
design?
What's that?
Okay. We don't have enough time to talk about
Okay.
all of what the human design is because that's a whole nother like look it up. It is your full natal birth chart. It's like your zodiac on steroids. Like it's like the
Okay.
whole thing. It's the whole picture. So when you've got like your houses, your rising sign, your moon. Anyway, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay.
I'll look it up.
I don't even understand all of it, and I've known about it for a few years now. Probably because I haven't applied myself, but I bought a book on it. I did learn about so there's different types of people. There's like 5 different
What's
types
it
of
called again?
people. Human design, I'll send it to you.
Humans. Okay.
There's 5 different types of people. And
Is this one of those things you have to pay for?
No, I use a free app. There's a couple apps that I use, but no, you can buy a book. I can lend you the book that I have. Um, but I'm what's called, so there's 5 different types of people, and I don't even remember what all 5 types are because they're not me and why I'm going to focus on what I am or whatever. I'm what's called a generator. Chris is a projector. He is the cool one. Let me just tell you. His is it's the cool one. Projectors
Is that where he
actually
manifests things into his life?
no, he's actually put on the planet to guide people to their purpose.
That's how I
About him?
feel. No,
Or about you?
me.
See,
That's how I
maybe
feel about me.
okay, so maybe you're a projector. So that's why it's interesting to me because but when you said that things just fall in place for you, that's so as a generator, if I'm in alignment with my purpose, I'm actually not supposed to seek out things like career-wise
That's how I know I'm on the right path. Is because things just fall into place
when
for
they
me. Is
come
that what
to
you mean?
you. Yes. So
Yeah.
you could be a generator. 'Cause generators, so like I said, we're not as glamorous as the projectors.
Mhm.
Generators are worker bees. We work really hard. We do a lot. Projectors are put on the planet to guide people like generators. So Chris is put literally on the planet to like help me to my purpose, which is beautiful to me. Um, but as a generator, I have to actually physically generate. I do generate my own energy. I know that sounds weird, but
No, it doesn't. Not to me.
so I know I have like when I have to rest, like when I could literally go and for hours and hours and hours on something that I need to do. But once I stop, it's really hard for me to start back up and I have to rest. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, like that's why I don't get on my phone a lot. That's why because I know I have to rest. And once I figured out that I was a generator and read that information about myself, I was like, it changed my life, and it is so on point. I've done the chart on both of my children. They were younger when I did. This was 2 or 3 years ago when I did this. So my son was 5. They're spot on. Like their whole profiles, their whole charts are spot on to their personalities. It's wild to me.
You need to send me that because
I will.
I'm very much
Yeah.
intrigued by what you're talking
And
about.
and the cool thing about it is that it helps guide you to like how to best be aligned in your career and that sort of thing.
Is
Still hasn't helped me as much as I'd like. But.
yeah, because like when people are in different moods than me, I find myself veering away from them in that time. Like
Okay.
like like me and Rachel. Like if we're in kind of different moods at the time, I'll go for a run.
Yeah.
I'll go for an hour and a half run. I'll be gone. Like go into my own world kind of thing. But also
Does she ever just tell you like, I need you to go away?
sometimes
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I learned to do that with Chris.
we're getting better at our communication. We still have lots of work to do
It's
in our relationship
ongoing.
for sure. Um, counseling is
Yeah.
amazing.
See, I kind of feel like we need counseling, but not really like need it. I feel like it's just I keep thinking it'd be good to do like maintenance almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there are topics.
exactly. That's exactly how
there are
I think
topics
about
that
it.
we still really struggle to talk about.
Yeah,
Like
no,
going back to the sexual stuff for me, one of the biggest triggers for me right now, and it's been, and I say right now, it has been for years. I'm not an object. I'm not an object, and I am more than my physical appearance because I've always had people always like, come on now. Everybody like knows about Crystal's butt. Like everybody talks about my ass. Okay. And
yes,
and at first, back in the day before I really realized how maybe detrimental that was for me, I took it as a compliment only and I took it as a way of receiving attention that was positive. And now I realize I'm not opposed to it still, but I realize that that actually bothers me. I don't love that. And it depends on who it is and what's, the connotation behind all of it. I'm not saying like don't compliment my butt, like whatever.
yeah,
I just mean I've come to realize there's a lot more that actually does that's like digging deep for me. Like that's like childhood, like young like not childhood like my parents or anything like that, but like young
yeah.
love, young relationships. Like what was my worth, right?
hmm
So anyway.
But back to what you were talking about,
Yeah.
being the generator. So the basis of everything that I want to do in life now. So ever since I got sober, and I started having the belief in myself, which is a couple of years after. So maybe about 3 years ago, I had the belief in myself to do these things,
Yeah.
especially since my 40th birthday, because that's when I did my first race.
Love
But
that.
everything that I've come up with, the businesses that I want to do, the restaurants, the um, her business, my book, this podcast, my comedy, um, everything that I want to do. The basis of it all is I want to lift up the people around.
Yeah,
That's my whole goal, is to lift up the people around me. It's not to become rich.
I hear that.
Money
so
is a
much.
byproduct of these
I
things.
feel that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I want, like specifically for one of my restaurants that I want to do. I'm not going to give you the details about it because I do not want somebody to take my idea. I tell you afterwards off
Yeah.
the air.
Absolutely.
But it would be a nice restaurant, and every single person in the application process. This is how I want the regular application questions, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then I want to ask the person what their dreams are.
Yeah.
And then after they describe to me what their dreams are, I'm gonna ask them to show me. Because in that moment, either they just lied to me, or they will actually, like, I'll pay them for their time. If your dream is you want to work with horses and in your spare time you work with horses, okay, let's hop in my car and show me where you work with horses at. I'll pay you for your time.
Yeah.
Prove to me that this is a dream that you're actually actively working towards.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to work for me for 20 fucking years. I want you to work for me while you need money, while you work on your dreams and aspirations to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I love that. I mean, that's an undertaking right there. That's a big dream to have.
Yeah. Your dreams.
I
should be-
am
hang on, real quick.
yeah.
My dreams, I set my dreams and my goals so high that my current capacity cannot achieve. So basically, I've heard somebody say one time that your dreams should scare you. If they don't scare you, they're not big enough, because your
Yeah.
dreams should be so big that they outweigh your current capacity to achieve them, causing you to become the person you need to be to achieve dreams.
I love that. No, I think that's incredible. It forces growth, it forces change. We can't evolve without doing things that scare us. We can't be better people if we don't do things that are scary and are new and are different. I think that's incredibly important. Um, yeah, I find myself, I very much feel all of that. Like for me, like money is an energy exchange. Um, I actually just finished reading a book called "You Are a Badass," and you have it.
I think Rachel had.
Nice. Oh, yep, there it is, right there, the yellow one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sincero? Sincero?
Yep.
I think that's how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah, Rachel read
It
that
was a
book.
really good book. Really, really good book. I actually just started reading another one of hers. And I can't remember what it's called right now because I realized very short on that it's more of like a workbook situation where I need to sit down and write down things, but it's about your goals. I don't know why I can't think of the title of it. But anyway, I started it and I was like, I gotta stop this until I can actually sit down and like be active in it. But yeah, no, in that book it talks in You're a Badass, it talks about how money is an energy exchange and how what you said, like I don't want to be rich. I want to do something that impacts other people and lifts people up.
Yeah.
And when you're able to do things in that positive light, like good things will happen. Like money will come. And so if I have a $20 bill and I think to myself, my gosh, I'm so lucky. I have this $20 bill. What can I do with this? And you give it to a homeless person, or you give it to, it's your lost 20 bucks and you give it to the kids selling cookies for their school or whatever. Like if it feels good to you and you gave it, and that's going to come back to you. Like it really will. And that's so cliche, but it will. And that money will just like, I think when you have that purpose and you have that drive, like it doesn't really matter what like bad things that happen. Like you can get through it as long as you have a goal and you believe that it's going to get better and believe that it's going to be okay. Like how many times have we been like, oh my God, I don't know. What am I going to do? My washer and dryer just broke. What am I going to do? My car just broke down. What am I going to do?
Oh.
But then you look back and you're like, that last situation, I made it through. It was hard. But like we did it. We figured it out.
Yeah.
And now we're fine.
See, I'm at a point in my life where it's like, oh, the dryer broke. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go buy a new dryer.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
It's simple. Like there's
Yes.
no need to. I'm not gonna stress over
But
it.
yeah, why? And Chris is really good at reminding me not to stress out about things, especially things that haven't happened yet. That's a big
That
focus
that's
for
one of the
me.
positives of our relationships is because we kind of counterbalance each other,
Absolutely.
you know?
As you should. Like yin and yang.
Yeah, for sure. Like she's one way and she hates my carefree attitude sometimes. It really drives her freaking
I
nuts.
don't want
But
to say that's like definitive to like male, female, but Jesus, like sometimes you go, man, must be nice to just be the dude that like
it'll
thinks.
work out.
But I've started saying it, even if I don't fully believe it. I've started saying those words, like
And how does
it's
that
gonna be
help you?
fine because I know it's gonna be fine.
Mhm.
I have family that loves me. I have a husband. I have a community. Things will be fine. I have friends I can rely on, and I have myself. Like I know if I push comes to shove, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make things happen. It's you don't have a choice. You just have to push forward. You have to. Like you can't just lay down and like let things like beat you up. But yes,
That's how
whenever
you get nowhere.
in the moment I'm when I can say everything's gonna be okay. Even if I don't fully believe it in that moment, the universe hears me say that. And the universe is like, yeah, it's gonna be okay.
Your mind also hears you say that
That's what I'm
too.
saying. Like your mind cannot differentiate between you faking something and you meaning it. Like you can say, I'm a fat lard ass. My brain doesn't know if that's really my truth or not. It just knows I said that. So that's gonna be my truth, right? If I say I am this incredibly smart, talented, beautiful, crazy, fun woman, then that's what I am. Because that's what I believe. Even if in the moment if I don't believe it, like I can say those words and I'm like, yes, this is what we are. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Just the snowball effect of the more you say those positive things to yourself, the more times that you can remind yourself you are worthy, you deserve love, you deserve happiness, you deserve success. It's gonna happen to you. And my biggest thing, like I get hung up on remembering all of the great things that I have done. Like Chris is like, why are you down today? Why are you feeling this way? Like you've done all these things. You've gotten certified in yoga twice. You have ran banks literally. You've run a business now. Like you've done all of these amazing things. You've been to Costa Rica.
You are a badass.
I'm a badass. And that's okay because it's hard sometimes to really I think sometimes when people are perfectionist, when you're perfectionist, which is what I am trying not to be anymore, is when you're a perfectionist, if things are messed up even a little bit, it's hard to like accept it.
Mhm.
I can genuinely like 100% say that's not fully me anymore. Right now, like I can see myself changing. I see myself evolving. I see myself getting freer. But sometimes when I take steps back or I say certain things, I realize like it's actually just habit. Like I might even say I'm not good at anything. And I'm like, but you don't actually mean that. You just said it because it's a habit, because you used to feel that way about yourself, but you know better.
Mm.
And it's like, but then just having that, it blows my mind, even having that awareness that I'm telling myself, you don't really mean that. Stop saying it. And then you try to like give that to other people. You try to give that gift to other people. Like, believe in yourself. See what I see. Right. And so I love like your concept of building a restaurant or building an establishment that helps to lift people up. Like I want to do that too. Sometimes I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Um, but not seeing things as a failure. Like my husband's like, you may not love being an Herbalife anymore, but you didn't fail at it.
Mhm.
You did it well. It's time for you to do something different. Right. Like, or I'm like, well, maybe they won't give me that number that I asked for because I really wasn't that great of a banker at my last job, or I wasn't really that great of a manager, or I wasn't that it's like, no,
That's your
bitch, you did
imposter
all of
syndrome.
that. You did all of that. What are you talking about? You spent 3 months getting 4 really prestigious licensing for the bank. Like people, not everybody just does that. You worked really hard at it and you accomplished it. Like so you have to really remind yourself of like all of the good things and coming back to, and again, I reference Chris a lot, but
It's a big part of your life.
he's so positive. Sometimes it's obnoxious. Like it gets on my nerves sometimes where I'm like, can you just listen to me? You don't need to fix me. You don't need to, but he's so positive. And going back to that stoicism that he talks so highly about and so often about, like the Daily Stoic,
Mhm.
right? That book.
Yeah.
Do you have that yet?
I don't think I have that book, but we talked about it.
We need to get you that book. He gives it out as gifts all the time. I don't even know how many times he's been like, babe, order me like 6 Daily Stoics from Amazon. I'm like, okay, I got it. We do it all the time. It's a big gift for us because we really believe in it. And but yeah, that having that gratitude, strip everything else away, want to build people up, want to build your community up, and have gratitude for the great things in your life, like everything else will be okay. Like everything, even the really hard stuff. And it's when you get in those hard moments, it's so hard to see it. But like you've overcome one of the biggest challenges that the humans face, like becoming sober.
Oh,
That is a huge. I have so much alcoholism in my family. Like I've like extended family. I'm very, very lucky. The family that I have, my immediate family, but and some of them have overcome it too, and I'm very grateful for that. And some of them didn't. That's a huge like the willpower that it takes for you to do that is such an accomplishment. But I know, like you could probably tell me more. Like it's a probably still a struggle, right? Like
every
not
day.
a struggle, but like
No, it's every day.
it's like there's temptation, right? Yeah.
It's every day,
Yeah.
especially bad days.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty of days that come around that I want to say fuck it and go slam some Jameson. You saw me when I used to drink heavily.
We all drink together. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you saw how trashed I would get
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Well, I
mean,
remember Rachel getting sick. That's what I remember. I remember like well she was going through some stuff and
oh, when she went to the hospital?
Mhm.
Oh, that was different.
Well,
I think I was drinking.
we
a
were
little
all
bit.
drinking
Yeah.
at that time. And I just
Yeah.
remember like I could have maybe not that I could have been there for her more. Like I remember her getting really, really sick and us being
There's
worried
9
and
years
concerned.
ago.
And yeah.
Yeah, because you and Chris came over and helped us unpack because we had
Yes.
just moved into here.
Yeah.
We still hadn't even unpacked in this house.
Right.
And a bunch of people, you and Chris included, came over and helped us unpack. I think cleaned it up or something because
I
it was
think.
literally right after she went in the hospital.
Yeah.
So, because we moved in June, my dad died mid-June, and then Rachel went into her coma in December, and all that I was an alcoholic and a drug addict at the time when that happened, and then through it for a few years too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that, I mean, but there's plenty of days that come
Yeah.
that I just want to say fuck it and go to the bar and have a drink.
Mhm.
I think one time I even made it to a bar and sat down. I don't think I ordered anything, but I went to some random bar that didn't know me. Some because
Yeah.
there's plenty of bars like
Yeah.
if I go to Lumpy's, they won't serve. If I were to ask for Jameson, they won't serve me. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
the new bartenders
Yeah.
that don't know me might, but there's somebody
Yeah.
that's there that'd be like, Draws, what the fuck you doing? You know,
Right.
there
Yeah.
would be somebody that would catch me.
Yeah.
Store club, there's no way anybody at the store club would ever give me any kind of booze.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Store Club. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So
They
much-
pour the best fucking drinks in town
Oh,
too.
yeah. So
Oh,
so strong.
such
I
a
haven't been
good
there in
bar.
forever.
And anytime I ever meet somebody who's from out of town, I'm like, hey man, where's especially when I was working at restaurants on Northwest Expressway,
Mhm.
they'd be like, hey man, we're staying at the hotel. Where's a good bar? I was like, you want dive bar? Or you want good? Like, if you want dive bar, go to the store club.
Yeah.
And heavy pour, cheap drinks. Like, you'll have a
ever-
good night. Like,
Do you ever go to the Wolf Trap?
yes, I remember the Wolf Trap.
So
That was
old.
in Edmond, right?
Yeah.
Off Broadway. Yeah, is it still there?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably.
Hmm. It is because I did some jujitsu in the gym that's right next to it. I'm pretty sure it's
Okay.
still, yeah, because
So
it was right next to the Wolf Trap.
yeah. So what do you do when those things come up? Do you run?
No, I have a lot of internal talk with
Okay.
myself.
So you sit with it more so? Like Is that intentional or you just kind of
I don't know. Never really thought about it.
okay?
Um, I try to figure out why I feel that way, like why I feel like I want to say fuck it, and then I kind of dissect that situation into okay, what could have you have done better, or it's not all this person or this situation's fault. Like,
Right.
how did you approach it?
What were the
Like,
triggers?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
What? Why do you feel that way?
yeah.
Yeah.
I I don't necessarily think it's triggers.
Yeah.
Because it's just me being in a bad mood that makes me want to say fuck it and go drink.
Right.
It's really my mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
baby,
because
go have a drink.
that's so common.
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
you had a bad day, man. You had a long day.
Oh
You deserve
man,
a drink, bro.
yeah, and I mean,
That's that
and
thought still in there.
I don't have a problem with alcohol. I can drink or not drink, but yes, I do that though. I will have I've said it to I've said it to my employees before. Gosh, today was rough.
Mom's
Yes,
gonna have
to
a
have a
drink.
drink.
Yeah,
And it doesn't even mean that I will have one. It just means in that moment I
but
feel
that's that
like
same
yes.
thought.
And
That's that same
I did
thought.
have at one point where I was like, holy crap, I don't have a problem with alcohol, but this has become a very regular habit. It was like every night as my wind down or to get tired or whatever is like one glass of wine or one bourbon or one beer. It was never excessive or a lot, but it was becoming such a habit. And I fall in and out of that. I have weeks where it's like, oh, I've had a beer with dinner the last couple nights or whatever, but it's never. And I don't want to say it's never excessive. I mean, Chris and I go out and we have fun or whatever, but I mean, I don't see it as an issue by any means. But you start to look at things in a different way when you think that they may be impeding on your goals.
Well, that's my whole thought process is like it doesn't matter what happened out here. It's
Yeah.
really what happens in here
Right.
that decides whether or not you're gonna go have the drink or not.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how fucking mad I get, or
Yeah.
I can
And
go
it's incredible.
I can go for a run and get the same endorphin rush, if not a better
A
one,
better one, probably. Yeah.
than if I were to go have a drink. Because also in my mind, the self-talk that I
Yeah.
have with myself, um, it always comes back to, do you really want that drink? Because you know what happens if you have that one drink. That leads to a second drink and a third drink, and then you're 8 drinks in, and then you're shit faced because you can't drink anymore.
Right.
And
Well,
then
and
on top of that, somebody's gonna have some sort of drug in that bar, most likely. You're gonna hear a conversation go off and be like, "Hey, buddy, what'd you just say about cocaine over there, my friend?
yeah.
You want to go to the bathroom and hang out with me? My name's Draws. Nice to meet you." Blah blah blah, and then
Yeah.
that just leads to, and then doesn't not
Well,
even
at that
mention
point,
the relationship aspect of, like, she's dealt with plenty of my shit. Like,
yeah.
if I go back to that, she doesn't deserve that.
Well, and when you have that strength to say, I have a lot of good things in my life. None of this is not worth losing that or that or that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And no, but it's huge whenever you find somebody that is like you're so strong, your will is strong because you've got those things and I love my wife. She doesn't deserve that. Those are things I don't know. I don't know. I can't I'm just trying to understand it a little bit because
Ask a question.
I have
Yeah.
I have a lot, like I said, I have a lot of alcoholism in my family, but I've never that I can think of really had a major problem with alcohol or really anything where I felt like I had to have it. That makes sense. But I'm sure I've teetered.
See, mine wasn't I needed to have it. Mine was I drink to excess. I do things to excess. I mean, just
Yeah.
look at my running. I want to do
Yeah.
a 50-mile race and a 100-mile race. I
Yeah.
do things to excess.
Yeah.
That's the same with drugs and drinking.
Did you and Chris have that conversation at all? Because he has what he calls himself has an addictive personality. So there's certain drugs or things that he's never tried because he knows it could take him down a
Oh,
bad
that's why,
path.
like, I've never done heroin because
Yeah.
I know that I would fucking love it.
Yeah.
And
He
I would
says
get
that about
lost down
Coke.
a heroin. Like, I mean, I got lost down a cocaine rabbit
Yeah.
hole. Like, I still love cocaine to this day. In fact, and Rachel know a specific person that is right now, like, gone out on a I wouldn't say a bender, but like he's living a party lifestyle right now. And, he decided to go down to another state and do something and meet this girl. And it's just seeing it happen. It's like, man, I fucking miss cocaine. I miss the freedom. Like, fuck it, let's go,
Yeah.
bro. Let's go on a 120-mile road trip to wherever.
Yeah.
Just
So
I
are
really
you
liked cocaine. I
see, and
loved it.
I've never tried it. I've never tried it because Chris and I have talked about that. Like we really there's certain things we're like, not that we haven't tried similar things. Like he's prescribed Adderall.
Mhm.
I've had Adderall.
I like Adderall as
It's
well.
very similar to my understanding.
It's not. It's Adderall is an amphetamine,
Okay.
which is closer to meth.
Oh,
So it's a
okay.
small,
Okay,
small
good.
dose.
So I've done things closer to meth.
Yes, you
Okay.
have.
Okay.
That's why it's not. That's why it's actually really not good for your brain because
Yeah.
it's a small dose of
works, though.
amphetamine. It is
God.
fucking fantastic.
Like the focus.
I get so much done on Adderall.
I told Chris, I said, man, but I'm on a thing right now where I'm trying to get myself off of every medication. Like I don't want to be taking anything that's not natural.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely with you on
but man, yeah. He like when I have taken his Adderall, I'm like, man, I get a lot done. I'm really focused. My brain is sharp. Like I don't have brain fog. I feel like good,
that. And that's what.
but I don't want to do it. I don't.
See, that's where the argument of like legalizing drugs comes into play because on small doses every once in a while, they
Yeah.
work fantastically for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And just like you just described,
Mhm.
The problem is people start taking it every day to get that, and then they start to abuse it.
When you don't realize like the nerves, like the neurons in your brain and how you're creating new pathways with everything you do, right? Like that's the cool thing about the brain is you can actually rewire the brain, but you can do it in a bad way too, right? Like you could go complete wrong direction and rewiring, or you can go in a good direction, which is like for me, those positive talk, self-talk, and those affirmations and those and I need them, believe me. Like people that know me closest, like no, like I naturally I get I easily get depressed. I easily feel less worth. Like those are things I'm really, really working on still. It's a daily thing for me. It's like today I feel really good. Today I feel like and anyway, that's I'm going off on a
No, you're
tangent.
fine.
But so my question was to you is when you say sober, does that include everything else too?
No, I'm what people call California sober.
Okay.
I'll smoke weed and occasionally I'll do some mushrooms.
Okay.
I like
So
mushrooms.
same. That's me too.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I
that's
still
what people
drink, but
call
I'm
California sober.
okay. Well, I was just curious because I know some people, like I have a really good friend, I won't name her, although she has
They
told
have
her
to quit everything.
she has told her story and she would not be offended if I said her name, but I'm really, really proud of her. And I didn't know her before. I know her now. But yeah, she said I can't do any of it. I can't do any of it. I can't even she had to cut um um soda pop out of her. Like she got addicted to soda. Like she couldn't even do that. Like I think she's like good now, but she doesn't do and she can be around alcohol. She can be around like people that are drinking. Like
I
I've
can be
drank
around
around
it.
her.
Like
But yeah, and I thought that was really interesting because you don't it's like in some people's eyes, that's how it has to be. Others is like, yeah, no, I can smoke weed and not have a problem
yeah,
in life.
yeah,
So
yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely. Like I don't abuse marijuana. Like there's sometimes I'm like, man, I haven't smoked any weed. Like
Yeah.
I
See, I
just
will
kind of
say
forget about it. Like
I wouldn't say I've used it, but I have kind of gotten into a habit. I smoke it pretty nightly now
yeah,
to
I mean, I
relax
smoke
and
weed regularly, but
not a lot though. I mean, I don't know. Chris would probably say like he's been joking and call me a pothead lately because I smoke a lot more. I was scared of it when I was like high school. I did it like twice. It scared me. I didn't like being high. I didn't like the way it made me feel out of control. And looking back, you're like you're way more control than alcohol. But I didn't like how it made me feel because I wasn't used to it, right? And
yeah.
then we actually started smoking weed at like 25. Like we waited, and then we kind of slowed it down for a while, and um, now it's easier because you have like pins, and you don't have to you don't have to get flour, although I'm sure
Mhm.
I know it's better for you. But yeah, we do mushrooms too. I actually so I got off of my antidepressants because I started doing mushroom capsules. Yeah,
Microdosing.
I'm microdosing.
Nice.
I'm microdosing, and I would kind of like to adjust it because I don't really know. Also, I haven't been consistent lately, and that's my own fault. It's just forgetting to take it. So I was like, I just need to get back on that. But yeah, so like I said, I'm on this kick of trying to get off of every single medication I'm on. The only thing I have left is thyroid medicine. And
That one might be a little harder to get out.
it is going to be. I have been doing I actually have had to start taking breaks because it's been breaking me out, but I've been doing iodine on my arm every day for almost every day for like the last 6 months. So iodine is supposed to help regulate. And I also have like this brand, it's called Earthly with an extra E. And they have some really good natural like root, like products with roots and different,
Mhm.
echinacea,
Skull shit.
yeah, exactly. And it includes a lot of the, reishi, all the mushrooms as well, and like ashwagandha, different roots that I've learned have been really good for me. And so I take that too every day. It's like a tincture that has like a combination of this. It's specifically for thyroid. So, but yeah, the microdosing, see, and macrodosing, like again, control freak over here. It makes me nervous every time, but man, I've really enjoyed doing that. The few times that I've had, I've done it spiritually a couple times, for funsies a couple times. So
I like macrodosing every once in a while. I don't do it that much.
I still
Just
get hungover
because
from it. I feel like
haven't
crap
done
the
it in a
next
while.
day. Well, I've only
See
done,
that?
I
Well,
think
you're
I've done it
poisoning
less than
yourself.
maybe
You're
5
poisoning
times.
yourself,
Yeah.
so. But every time I do it afterwards, I'm just like, you know what? All that dumb shit doesn't make a bit of difference.
It doesn't.
One of my favorite things about mushroom is time disappears from me. Time does not mean a fucking thing to me anymore.
Yeah.
Especially like even just eating like what is your microdose milligram, if you don't mind me asking?
That's a good question.
Is it
I don't really know.
I think most microdosing is like 0.1, 0.2 grams.
So this is, it's probably like should be a better system, but literally I buy these vegan capsules and I could probably look it up and tell you what the size is. And Chris gets the mushrooms, he grinds them up for me,
And
he
then
puts
puts-
them in the capsules for me, and I take 2 a day. I don't know anything else beyond that.
Do you
I
have
really
any
don't.
kind of like body high or visual or
No,
anything from them?
although it's happened to me a couple of times,
So they're probably a little too high for you then.
but it's like been random where out of nowhere I've felt a little bit of a body high and I'm like, ooh.
Could you get that there? Ooh.
Yes. And
Kinda
well,
feeling
you know what's
like,
weird?
ooh.
Yes. What's weird about it is the 2 times that happened, and I'm like, this can't be mental because I would know. I don't know. Because I don't even think about it beforehand. It's happened twice. Both times I've drank mushroom coffee when it's happened. And I'm like, surely that can't be interacting. Like, but it could be because literally it's happened twice. I've tried Rise coffee twice while taking my normal like dose, and out of nowhere, I'm like, oh yeah, that
Hello.
so
Hello.
you start to breathe heavy,
Mhm.
and like,
Yeah, you're like,
oh,
ooh.
and then you're like, well, how far is this gonna go?
Yeah.
I took my normal 2 capsules that I take every day that doesn't make me feel any kind of way most days, and it's happened twice now, and so I'm like, I'm done with that coffee. Is I don't wanna do that because I don't know. One time I took it late. I took my pills.
Well, your intention is not to that. Like
Yeah.
microdosing, that's the point of microdosing.
I
is
took
like
'em
taking an antidepressant.
Yeah, I took them late, like late afternoon. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon, and it happened to be the day that I have to pick my daughter up at 2 to take her to eye therapy. And I called Chris and I was like, "Oh, weird. Not sure I should be driving right
I
now."
need you. Yeah.
But I was okay. It just it kind of like scared me a little bit.
Well,
Like,
you weren't expecting.
well, I
it.
was like, "How far is this gonna go?
Mhm.
I've got to drive her." And
That's
I
the
was
thing about
fine.
mushrooms is mushrooms are a hallucinogen and
Right.
psilocybin.
Yeah, psilocybin. I always
That's
say,
I,
I feel like
I
I say it
cannot
wrong.
wait until it becomes legal because that I will get a card for.
And the gratitude that comes from that, like when you see things that you see, like, oh my God, there's nothing better. Like, I'm assuming we've got to all see similar things. Like I always see the geometric shapes. Do you ever see like mandalas?
What's mandalas?
A mandala is a like the round shape that's lots of shapes within it. It represents like the universe and how we're all connected. Like mandala. I might have to.
Are those the kind of trippy posters?
Yeah, like
You know,
it's
it's got,
typically a
and it's
round
usually
shape.
in a round, kind of like
And there's like shapes within the shapes and the
yes,
okay, mandalas.
yes.
Yes.
I see it whenever I'm tripping. I see it, and it breathes. The
Yeah.
earth kind of breathes.
I always see layers in the sky. I always see like a fog, like layers all the way out to the stars. And I always have conversations with the stars, always. Like it never fails me. I'm like, we're gonna talk. Um, I remember one time it was like dusk and it was winter, and so it was like purple and pink in the background, and all of a sudden I look up and you know how the trees like they have no leaves and they all look black, right? And then you got the color in the back. All of a sudden, all of the branches started coming together, and it looked like lace, like a big sheet of lace was covering the earth in front of me. Like I was like, God, this is so cool. And what I do love about mushrooms is like if depending on how much you've taken, you're very aware. Like, you don't you're like, "No, I'm sitting in my yard right now, and I'm just seeing shapes." Like, I'm not gone yet. I'm not in another dimension. Um, that's what I love because I still feel a little bit in control, but I just love those shapes and the breathing. Yeah, like
I see the mandala
mandala
shape that you're
shapes,
talking about,
like
like
geometric shapes, right?
like they're always round
Yeah.
for me. They're always round for me. They're always round. But like if I were looking at the concrete, the black spots will make those round shapes, and they'll kind of just have this little kind of breathing to them.
Have you ever looked at, like, marble? Like a marble countertop or, like, marble tile?
Mm,
Chris and I have
no.
we feel like we've had the same experience, so we're curious. So we were at a friend's house. This is one of the first times we did it, and they had this beautiful marble tile, and you look at the veins in the marble, and it looks like chlorophyll. Like it looks like you're looking at the inside of a plant because you see the little round, like almost bubbles of like the cells moving through the veins.
Uh-huh.
And Chris is like, "Yeah, no, I've seen that exact like we've both seen that." And so I'm like, "Okay, that's got to be kind of normal." The weirdest one for me was in that same bathroom. No, it was a different bathroom in the same house. It was like their guest bathroom that had like a weird texture on the walls. It was like brown with almost like a glaze over it. And I saw like this full on picture. It was a like an African elephant with the mandala shape on all over its body. And above it was like this big like cobra snake like coming up and over it.
You saw this in the wall?
Just in I
Just
was
in the
Jaws, I went to sit down to pee. And I'm just sitting on the toilet, tripping balls, and I just look at the wall in front of me. It has no paintings, just the wall,
and
and
this is
that's
what you
what I
see in the
see.
wall.
And I'll never forget it. I can still vividly see the entire image. Like I know exactly. Like I've been wanting to like I should try to draw it, but yeah, no, it's just this big, beautiful elephant with all the shapes on it, and this big cobra coming up like around, like under it's like wrapped around like one of the elephant's legs and then comes up over its head. And it wasn't like a scary thing. It was just very beautiful, very subtle. I don't know. It's so
Awesome.
fun. It's so fun. But also drugs scare me.
No,
Going
drugs are
back to our first
scary.
conversation.
Drugs are absolutely scary.
Even those. It took Chris years. I mean, he did not want to do it without me. And he's like, he's been trying to convince me to do this, to try it for so long. And I finally, and it still makes me anxious every time. Also, I don't like the way it makes your stomach feel. So it's like, I know that's coming. So it like freaks me out. Like, my stomach's going to hurt. What's going to happen? You know, and I also get really paranoid about Chris's well being.
See, that's why I like doing it by myself.
I'm like,
I like
he
enjoying
wants to be
them.
in the shower. He wants to feel water. He wants to feel water because of course it's incredible, right? And I'm the whole time like you're gonna drown. No, he's in the shower. Okay? He's not gonna drown. And he'll be like, "Babe, I'm fine. Please go sit somewhere or do something." And I'm just like, and like you said, there's no time. So for me, I'll be sitting there like trying to be patient and let him enjoy his shower. And then I'm like, no, I gotta go check on him. And it's probably been 2 minutes. And I'm like, nope, you still doing okay? You still alive? You still breathing? And I'm so
So
paranoid.
time slows down.
Somebody just grazed.
That's
Is it a
Mr.
cat?
Whiskers, I think.
Is that a cat? Oh, hi. Oh my gosh, you look. Oh,
It's Mr. Whiskers.
okay. So he looks identical to a cat that
She.
Chris and I. Wait, Mr. Whiskers?
Yeah, don't
Don't ask.
Rachel.
Oh my.
That's Rachel.
You look just like my cat. One of my cats.
And this is her for 5th appearance on the podcast.
Oh,
Everybody welcome Mr. Whiskers.
okay.
Yeah.
For that.
Like, look at my butthole, human.
Oh my gosh, you look identical. So it was I won't tell the story, but it's a really sad story. I had two cats that lost their lives at the hand of my two huskies.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But one of them, the young one, looked just like this.
Yeah.
His name was Spaz. We had Tweak and Spaz. And they weren't drug related names. We were just the first one was just like a full on like Tweak. And he was
Yeah.
a jerk too. Oh, it was such a mean cat.
Oh, Sam's jealous.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give you some attention.
Yeah.
Hi.
What's funny is he didn't want attention until Mr. Whiskers got up.
Well, of course. That's how it goes. My dog is so jealous of my kids. Like anytime we start playing with our kids, he gets right in the middle of everybody. But he's still a puppy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's such a good dog. We had to say goodbye to our two huskies 2 summers ago, I think. They were 16. They would not go on their own terms, so we finally had to take measures. And I hated choosing, but I was like, I know they're in pain and they're just not telling me.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in rough shape and they were just holding on for dear life. And I was like, and they were brother and sister. We got them together. We got both of them at 8 weeks old. So they were our babies long before our babies.
So, when putting an animal down, have you ever had your hand on them whenever they actually passed?
Yeah. So,
Did you feel anything?
just just the breath leaving the body. We had kind of a traumatic experience, but also a really nice. Like we actually had a travel vet come to our home.
We did too.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
we used Lap of Love.
Might be the same one. I don't remember.
They came to our house.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing. Like I
Yeah.
would totally pay for it.
Oh yeah. Well, we were like, I don't want to take them. Like they're so old. Like I was like, I don't
Mr.
wanna do
Whiskers,
this
get off
right
our
now.
nose.
I don't want to. I don't want to take them to a vet. I don't want to take them somewhere where that's where they like their last memory is. So
Yeah.
yeah, this lady came and she was just a beautiful, sweet, sweet woman. And we had Sasha and Maverick, brother and sister, and we decided to go with Sasha first. And in true bitch fashion, she would not go. She gave us complications the whole time. The first shot didn't put her to sleep, like didn't put her into sleep mode. So we had to give her another one. Her veins kept blowing out when she was trying to inject her.
Goodness.
It took 2 of the lethal injections to actually kill her. It was so sad. And she was like bleeding everywhere. And it was very traumatic because I was going, oh my God, are you not ready? Are you not ready? Am I making a bad choice? Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
that's the hardest thing right
and
there.
Maverick, bless his little heart. I mean, when we started everything, he came and laid down next to me and he just waited his turn. He just laid there and waited. He knew. It was like he knew. And he went immediately. He started snoring a millisecond in and he was gone. Just like, I mean, so easy.
I may cry.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I was like, I really don't want to tell these stories, but no, they were a big part of our life. And
animals are a huge part of our lives.
well, and I will say we were kind of mean mom and dad when after the incident happened with our cats. I kind of saw them in a different light and I was really nervous about them when we had Killian. I just didn't trust my male the same because they're huskies, they're wolves, like They had had a taste for blood. At this point, they had killed several animals that had made it into our backyard, like squirrels, raccoons, things. So we just, when we had Killian, when he was like a newborn, I swear he looked at him like he was a snack. And I was like, I'm sorry. So they became outside dogs and they were the rest of their lives. And I hated doing that to them. And they were allowed in when the weather was really, really bad, or when we got, cold weather, they were good. Like,
Yeah, they're huskies.
other than, obviously, and we made arrangements for them. So they were comfortable, but the heat was the hardest part. And that last summer, I was like, I don't think they can make it through another full summer. I mean, it was June and it was already like so hot. I was like, we've got to make a decision. And actually, Chris and I had just done mushrooms a couple weeks before that. And we kind of said we kind of made peace with it with them. We were tripping, we were laying in our yard with them. The kids were gone. We just laid with them and we just loved on them. And it was like, you know what? I after we came down from that, I looked at him and I said, I really think it's time. Like I really, really I had my talks with them. Like, I know we have to be done. Like they're too old. I know they're in pain. I mean, my female, when she would lay on her side, like her breathing was like, I mean,
Labored.
terrible. But yeah, I did feel bad about putting them outside after everything, but I just was like, I
can understand that
can't
decision,
trust. I can't trust it.
Well,
I just,
at the end of the day, they are wild animals at heart.
yeah.
And
And
unfortunately, when an animal gets a taste of blood, sometimes
Yeah.
they don't always make the greatest decisions.
Well, and the whole theory behind invading your food or taking over your sources, your resources. Sometimes animals act out when they think that their resources are being taken
Yeah.
from them. And so I didn't
well,
want
especially a child,
a baby to
yeah.
be, yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. But listen, they went out with a bang. The day before, we had my parents over. We fed them a big steak dinner. I mean, we cooked steaks for them. They had corn on the cob. They had oatmeal cream pies, and they had just everything they could want. Which the corn was a bad decision, but let me just tell you.
Let's not get into why.
Yeah. But no, we celebrated them. We took lots of pictures with them. The kids took lots of pictures with them. We cheersed them. We had champagne. We just loved on them and just gave them all of the things. And we felt like that was kind of the best way to celebrate them and then move on.
She does like to nip every once in a while, just FYI.
It's fine.
She's never drawn blood, but she does like to nip every once in a while.
That's okay. So I like cats. I'm not a cat person when it comes to my home anymore, but I like cats.
Cats show up for me.
Yeah.
Like they're one of those things that, like, there's a cat outside we call Nebula. She adopted us. She just showed up one day and she kind of hangs out with us now.
Yeah.
Rachel brought her home from Lumpy's one night at 4 a.m. She just showed up
with a cat.
with a cat in her hands.
We have a cat.
We have a cat now. Son of a bitch.
Exactly. Like, no.
I
kind of did the same thing with our dog now, because I was like, it had been 1 year basically, and we weren't really looking for a dog. It just kind of happened. We don't normally pay for dogs, but one of our neighbors, we had a previous neighbor. Her and her husband were breeding the doodles with the Bernese mountain dogs, and they were breeding the husband, his sister was fighting cancer, and so they had actually purchased a dog to breed with her dog. So they started breeding to raise money for her. She died. She passed away. And then they kept breeding and were giving the money to some sort of, I think it was like a Guatemalan mission trip, or not trip, mission through their church. And so, typically doodles, are like $3,000 or whatever. And we paid like $900 for him, and it was to a good cause. So I didn't feel bad about it, but it was also really nice to have a hypoallergenic.
Yeah.
So, and he's so smart and he's so loving. He's honestly the best dog. Like, he's such.
Is that this dog you have now?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
He's so good. So his name's Basil Blue.
Basil Blue.
So we were trying to figure out his name, and the name that the breeder had given him was Blue. And when I was trying to talk to my parents, I was like, what should we name him? And my dad said Blue. And I thought, oh, okay. Well, his name was already Blue. So I thought that was really cute. We actually named him kind of after Basil Hayden, because we're like whiskey drinkers, but also because we love to cook. So the basil was like a second, like herbs and
What are y'all growling about?
cat.
No, Gus is following him around.
Oh, that's not a cat.
That's Gus.
Oh,
That's Gus.
I thought we had Mr. Whiskers again.
Nope, Gus showed up. Gus is following Sam around.
You're a good boy, aren't you? You said I just don't want to be bothered.
Dog.
I don't want to be bothered.
He's the biggest baby. Man,
He's so sweet.
I tell you what, like he's got a blankie.
Oh,
He's so cute.
you have a blinky.
He does.
You
'Cause he
have a
gets
blinky.
cold. He gets cold.
Baby.
78 pounds of big old baby.
Baby.
I'll tell you what, he does his job though. People do not
Oh yeah,
like. He does his job.
that's so sweet.
Good boy, Sam.
He's
good
a
boy.
Boy.
Um,
Anyway,
it's art. I want to ask you about
Yeah.
this real quick.
Ask
This thing
me.
that I took a picture of. So, one of the things Rachel, she does like a journal thing, and in it this morning was I think her thing was you have to write out what each one of these things are, and they gave you 4 things of things that you need to focus on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So one is mental self-care, one is spiritual self-care, one is emotional self-care, and one is physical self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And what are of those 4 things? Are there any specific things that you do for yourself in those aspects of life? I mean, we've talked about
Yeah.
a few of them,
Yeah.
especially with the mental self-care, like this positive self-talk
Yes.
and positive reinforcement and
Absolutely.
things like that. But there's spiritual self-care, which
Spiritual is gonna
mushrooms can be in there.
yes. The mushrooms for sure. The meditation.
I'm sure yoga helps with that.
Yoga is kind of in the physical. It's
Physical.
kind of in all of them.
Yeah.
Really, it's the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, because uh, moving your body is what I would do for most of those things. Like moving your body is so important when it comes to your mental health, your spiritual, because it allows things to be released that are stuck in places. So dancing is like a big thing that I would do. Again, I'm kind of lumping them in together, but when I am emotional, when I'm sad, when I'm depressed, dancing, moving my body, doing yoga, all of those things. So that is my spiritual awakening is in dance. I'm trying to think of what else I would do. I do journal, not as much as I'd like to, but I do journal. Mental is just like getting up and doing, like whether it's moving your body or doing something that you know you need to do, just get yourself out of that rut. Um, is really, really important to me because I do feel like I get stuck. I feel
I think everybody feels like
yeah,
that
and
sometimes, you know?
getting sunlight, breathing fresh air, getting outside, grounding is something that I do. That's so woo woo, but like seriously taking my socks and shoes off and getting in my grass. I mean, I really find so much peace in that. It always makes me feel better. Always, always. And dancing. Dancing is like my thing. Like music, singing, dancing, getting that energy out. Like you just see it. Like you could just feel it. You can feel that energy, negative, positive, whatever, releasing what how it needs to come out and crying.
Mhm.
Okay, I used to really, really think that crying was like a huge weakness. And
No.
I used to be so embarrassed for crying. I used to say things like, I wish I could remove my tear ducts. Like I wish there was a surgery for that. And now I'm like, no, crying is a way for me to physically release like sadness, hurt, negative energy in my body. Like I'm feeling something, I need to let it go, crying is the best way for that. And it's such a beautiful release in your body. So I'm a crybaby.
Now on the crying aspect, do you kind of force yourself to get to that emotional state where you cry, or to just kind of like
It
I'm
just
gonna
happens.
cry,
It just
like this is
happens.
just going on.
I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm angry. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm grateful. Like I cry when I talk about my kids. I cry when I talk about Chris, my family. I cry when I watch a stupid sad commercial or a loving commercial, or I cry when I hear songs like the Like My Father song with my daughter. Um it's not like I'm like sitting there going, "No, I need to release. Let's cry." It just happens. I've always expressed my emotions and my things that way. I've always let out the crying. And the one thing that I've learned to do is to really let it go though. Like we as humans, like we're taught like we're not supposed to express emotions. We're supposed to hold it together. I have one that is one thing that giving yourself that permission to feel is so, so important. So when I start to feel it and I feel like that bubbling up of emotion, I just go, yeah, we're doing this. And it might be crying, it might be screaming. It might be screaming. I actually did have a really incredible experience in Costa Rica where we had to go through all the emotions. We were all in a room and she played different songs. And we were not forced into it, but kind of what you were saying.
That's enough.
We were forced
That's
into, okay, this is the type of song. This is what I'd like for you to feel. Does anything come up for you? And one of the songs was like Rage. And having that freedom to have that expression and to be able to scream and let things out was so powerful. I've never experienced that so much. And when we were all done, I had several women in the group come up to me and thank me because they were like, "You were my walking permission slip," which is all we want to do in life. Like you said, uplift
Yeah.
people. So being that walking permission slip to feel like you allowed me to feel and you allowed me to scream. I wanted to, but I was afraid to. And then I heard you, and then I was okay. Or I wanted to dance, but I was afraid to express myself. And I saw you dancing around like a crazy woman. So then I felt okay. And that's really all we can do for people is be that walking permission slip.
He's your emotional support
You
animal.
are. Like a good boy. So yeah.
It's good. What kind of the trip that you were on? What was that?
It was like a
ladies
it
retreat.
was a women's retreat that was it was a spiritual retreat to energy work to do. We did a bunch of different workshops. We did a lot of different exercises. Mirror gazing. We had to look at ourselves.
That's enough, dude.
Come here.
He's jealous of the attention that you're showing Sam. Kennel.
Come here.
Kennel.
He
Good boy.
he got better. He got better. So
He's such a-
I get it. My dog, like my dog is the same way, but with my kids, he will literally push them out of the way.
GU double dollar sign. That's how we spell him. His
You
name.
are so cute.
Her sister came up with that. Yeah.
But yeah, we did like mirror exercises where we had to look at our entire body. Like we were like, I had like a robe on and like underwear, and that was it. We were naked a lot in this trip. It was all women. It was like 10 women, and we did a lot of things nude to just express ourselves and just be free.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a freeing thing to
It
be.
was really fun.
I love to every once in a while, like I'll go into my backyard to the back of it and I'll just wear my robe,
Yeah.
take my robe off and just let the sun kind of hit me.
Yeah.
Great to be
Skinny
naked.
dipping, like swimming naked is literally one of my top like 5 favorite things on the planet to do.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever skinny dipped.
Oh, just swimming in a pool or ocean or something just naked. Oh my,
I don't think
the
I've ever
best.
skinny dipped.
So fun.
Mom
It's
Bear,
so
next
fun.
time we go to the beach, we're going skinny dipping.
Yeah, you need to. It's so freeing because it's that I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care what people think. And you know that's hard for people to do. And sometimes it's hard for other people to accept, to allow you to do. Chris went through a phase of like that, or he had a really hard time with, because he was too worried about what people thought of us to allow like me, to be free and him to be,
Yeah.
um,
I'm gonna grab a water. Do you need any?
no, I'm good. I'm good.
Keep talking.
I was trying to think of where I was going with that, but yeah, no, oh yeah, so we did we did a really wild ice bath.
Oh,
It was a very spiritual ceremony, where each one of us, we had two women that went in at the same time, and our goal was like 5 minutes, in the ice bath, and our guide, Yosef, he was incredible. Or Yoza, I called him Yosef. Yoza. There was a whole joke about we were saying his name wrong for the longest time, and then we figured out I think it's Yoza. He was like our guide. He helped us with everything the whole time we were there and got us whatever we needed. And they're bringing in these big chunks of ice, and we've got all these beautiful flowers. And we sang we chanted over every woman that was in the water. We chanted this song, this beautiful song. And what else did we do? We went to the beach. They had this beautiful, we harvested this blue clay that's supposed to be very sacred. And we actually took it and painted, affirmation or like powerful like words on our bodies, like things that either meant something to us or something we wanted to feel or wanted to be. And then we ended up smearing like the clay all over us and just letting that sit on our skin. That was very spiritual. The waterfall they took us to was like this magical little kind of hole that mostly only locals knew about, and not even some locals. I mean, it was very, very sacred, not tourist at all. And that was really, really neat. So we harvested the clay, and then we walked all the way down into this hole, into this beautiful little waterfall lagoon. And that's probably the first time in my entire life that I went swimming in water that I couldn't see underneath me, that I was okay. Like I felt very safe. Costa Rica has like the most magical presence. Like I felt fully, like I just felt so safe there. I don't know how to explain it. It was magical. It was incredible. It was so cool.
Sounds like an amazing trip.
It was a once in a lifetime thing. Chris sent me there. That was my Christmas present actually last year, and I went November. It was like the end of November through like the first week of December. It was really cool. So, my best friend Ashley, she's a photographer. She was there and she was going, and I really, really wanted to go, and I didn't think anything of it. Like it was a total surprise. And he was like, "You're going to this?" And I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
But yeah, I learned a lot. And the only thing is like those things, like Chris, like I come home and he's like, "Okay, so are you better? Are you a different person? Are you like happier?" Like, and I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's like I'm not going to be a whole different woman. Like I'm not going to come back a changed person, but you learn a lot, and you have time for reflecting, and those things I keep trying to do. Like,
That's one of the things that I've learned throughout this journey is there's no one big thing that
mm-mm,
changes you. It's the little decisions on a daily basis
daily, yeah,
that you have to adjust and tweak.
yeah,
Like if you make bad decisions, you're going to go down a bad path. If you
yeah,
make good decisions, you're going to go down a good path.
yep,
Like
and
there's
have
no
that
one,
awareness.
and you may have trips like your trip and everything, and they are bigger than those small decisions,
Yeah.
but they're still just a small part of the bigger
Yeah.
aspect of
Absolutely.
becoming a better person.
I think I want to be a better person for my family the most. Like, I still have a lot of things that I struggle with. I get really angry. I have a lot like I'm not an angry person. I mean, I kind of am. Like I get really uptight, and whenever I get stressed, I don't handle it very well sometimes. I get angry. Especially with my kids. Like I lose my temper with my kids, especially my son. And I just love him so much, and it hurts me every time I get like I make bad choices with him, and it's like my kids are the biggest reason that I want to be like continuing on the path I'm on. And I've read a lot of books on like how to, whatever, self-help books and things. Discipline Without Damage was a big one for me. that I read that was really, really good on insight to remembering that your children literally don't have the mental, like their brain has literally not developed to do necessarily the things that you're expecting them to do.
That's my biggest problem when I see kids. I'm like, you little dumbass.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
well, it's just like you're like, dude, that's common sense. Like, why are you
Yeah, that's sort of.
why are you
Oh
doing
yeah,
that?
you don't have
And
comments that.
or I've asked you 900 times to put your shoes on, like you know what time. And but at the end of the day, it really is on me. It's if we're rushed, it's because I wasn't time managing properly. If we're late, it's because I wasn't. If I'm yelling, it's because something else is stressing me out and I'm taking it out on you because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be this wild, crazy thing that doesn't know everything. And they're learning right now. They're literally exploring things like for the first time. And so and it's so hard for me sometimes. Like my son, I'm like, dude, I expect, especially like, he's cooking and he's doing all these things, but then the other day he took a safety pin and just started like putting a hole in my leather ottoman, like my bench. We have a bench on one side of our dining room table, and and I didn't see it. Chris saw it. Chris got mad. I mean, and he handled it fine, but he was like very like clear that it was really dumb decision. And we're like,
What are you thinking?
what is wrong with you? Or like the other day, like I lost my temper with him. He jumped in the car, and instead of like letting his sister get in the car behind him, he slammed the door because he thought it would be funny. And I'm like, dude,
What is going on, guys? What is your problems?
are they hungry? Have they
Can
eaten
you go
dinner?
outside? You want to go outside?
I'm like, what time is
What
it?
is what-
Is it midnight? Are we keeping you?
here? Put them outside for They might need to poop.
Yeah.
No problem. Forward. Go pee. Do whatever dogs do.
Whatever they gotta do. But yeah, I could do a whole nother podcast on my emotions
Yeah.
with my children. But
That's one of the things I also like what you were describing about with your children. Like, that's one of those things that I have to force myself to remember about everybody else in the world. Like, everybody's got their shit going on.
Yeah.
Like, this is
not
not
just
draw.
you.
This is not Draws's world. Like, everybody's not doing their thing to appease me. Like, I have to figure out how to make it through this life and also remember. Oh yeah, Crystal's got things to do as well. She doesn't just have time for your podcast. Like, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
No.
like I think a lot of people don't think about that though. Everybody just thinks it's especially with
Oh yeah.
these freaking things now.
I know.
Like, everybody's just lost in their own little world,
I hate it.
and they forget that every single person around you has that world going on for them too.
I know. It's interesting when you start to have that awareness of, oh my gosh, it's not all about you. And that's something that I really, really struggled with. I didn't realize it. I think I just always felt like I wasn't being heard. And so I've just always a lot of like me, but it's whenever one of the biggest shifts that have seen in myself, and whenever I do it, it's like, oh my God, that's so cool, is whenever I flip it and I stop and I just say, how are you? Like, that's just not something I was good at before. I would just word vomit all of the things that are going wrong in my life, or maybe good things, but like all the things that are going on in my life. And then it's like, no, well, what about you? And I still catch myself sometimes. Like, it still happens to me. But I'm like, okay, stop. It's like it's an exercise for me now. It's something that I'm practicing daily. Like, how about you? How is your life? How about this? You told me about this. I have the memory of a goldfish. So sometimes I'm like, what did we talk about? I don't
Yeah.
remember. But it's like the cool things when you do remember, people like they're so grateful for that. And it's like it's really interesting. I had a guy come in, he's been coming in to see me and at the boost, and he's like, thank you so much for remembering my name. I can't believe you remember my name. He's an older gentleman, and he's like, I can't believe you remember my name. And I'm like, well, I don't always, but I knew that I felt like that'd be important to him. Like, it just felt like it, like his presence. It just seemed like something I should do and want to do. And I did. And we've had some really cool talks. And there's been a few comments here and there where I'm like, "Ugh," like he's like, yeah, I came in yesterday and you weren't here, and I almost cried, and I was like, okay. Or he told me, yeah, sometimes I get kind of addicted to people, and I wanna, I'll make it a habit of coming in here, and I'm like, "Mm."
That also just might be because he's low.
He does have he is married, but yes, I have no idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he's let me in on a couple struggles and things that he's been dealing with like his grandson, and I guess his grandson is having some major like mental health problems, and it was causing a strain on their marriage because they took him in because his mother decided she no longer could handle him, so it was kind of became the grandparents' problem. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm not a spiritual person when it comes to like church Christianity. Like all like Actually, I'm not even gonna be PC about it. I'm not even gonna say that I feel like I'm fully a Christian. Um, I'm closer to God than I've ever been. Being on the spiritual journey that I'm on right now with energy work and just that, I'm closer to God.
Absolutely.
Um, and
Absolutely.
so I told him, I was like, I will say a prayer for like your grandson. Like I was like, what is his name? Like, please tell me. Like, and I don't get me wrong, like if you're a Christian and you want to pray for people, like please do. Like I'm not knocking any of that. It's just not a personal preference for me. I have a harder time with organized religion. Um, uh, I've met amazing people that go to church. Like I don't care. Like I don't care as long
Yeah,
as
you don't have to.
yeah. As long as you're good, you know what I mean. You just be a good person, right? Doesn't matter to me either way. But I've just not had always the best experiences in church.
Well, some of
Um,
the shittiest people I've ever met claim to be the best Christians in the world.
oh yeah,
So
I just had an experience with one of my employees, and I'm not even gonna go into it, but she's really I mean, even in our interview, I was like, "This girl's kinda judgy." She's 16, and she made it very known that she left her last job because she felt like she was being judged for being Christian, and then I just was like, "Oh, okay. I don't wanna put you in a box, but I know exactly like, I know what you're about. I know what you're about. I can see it. I can the little comments that you make, the judgmental, I feel you. You're so judgmental." And she just completely went off. She completely screwed up my business this last week. So whatever. She's 16. I'll move on.
yeah,
Um, but it's wild to me when you meet people who are like, "Oh, I'm Christian," and then they have, all of these ideals. But really, it's like, do you hear yourself? Like you couldn't be more close-minded, in my opinion. That can happen to any religion, anything.
absolutely.
But for some reason, I don't know. Anyway, that's a
For
lot for
some
me.
reason, what?
No, I just like Christians. People a lot of times the experience that I have when I've had the really judgmental negative people, it's the people that say, "Oh, I'm a Christian and this is what I do and this is how I live."
Yeah,
They're like it's like that like you said, some of the worst people I've ever met. I'm like, "You're the worst." Literally, like, "You're the
yeah,
worst." Like, you give me the ick.
yeah. They're not all like that. I've
Yeah,
met some that are
same.
pretty
Yeah,
fucking bad.
and it's
Where I'm
not
just like,
everybody.
I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be around you.
Chris and I have talked, I don't know how many times over the last 15 years about should we go to church? Should we get our kids in church? Because we both grew up in church and we both believe that some of the foundational morals and things things that you
Absolutely.
learn are really important. But also I'm like, I feel like I could teach that to them outside of that.
Outside of that,
Um
yeah,
and I'm not the one who's like, "Oh, I'm only doing this or I'm only doing that." For instance, my mother-in-law the last couple years has asked if she could take the kids to vacation Bible study at her church in Ada. I am like, "Yes, absolutely. They can go." Like, and my daughter comes back talking about Jesus and talking, and she has like her, and she'll ask for us to pray at dinner. I'm like, "Okay, I bless my food. I do those things. So if you want to say a prayer,
hey,
let's say a prayer."
let's not do that. All right.
Trying to put on a show for the show.
Yeah, she is. That's an OnlyFans account, girl.
We gotta get on the OF over
Look
here.
at her go up to the camera. Look at me, people. Look, you can see her on the camera.
So funny. They just do their thing. They just do their thing.
amazing.
They
Animals
just do
are
their thing.
amazing. I spent the first 5 minutes of cleaning today saying hello to this dog named Jameson. I literally just sat down on the floor and I was just like petting him, hugging him. He's a big old like I don't even know what he is, but he's probably a good 100 pounds. He's a
Uh.
big dog. And I was just holding him and petting him. And then I would stop and then he would go and grab my arm and like bring it back. I'm like, all right, we're not working yet.
Yeah. I know. That's the cutest when they do stuff like that. I keep wanting to do the whole like hand thing with my dog that everybody's
Yeah,
doing.
Rachel showed me
haven't
that.
done that yet. I haven't done it yet. Have you guys done it?
No, but I'm sure I know Sam would because I taught him how to shake a long time
Yeah.
ago. So he knows
Just
about
keeps
putting
it
his,
safe,
you
right?
know.
Yeah.
Gus, I don't know what he could do. That kid's so spastic. He'd probably just stare.
The cutest ones is like people do the hand, and instead of the dog putting the paw on, they'll put
With
their
their head, press their head. Yeah.
Why is that so cute? Because they're like, "Hi, mom and dad." Like, oh,
That's why it pisses me off so much when I see somebody treat an animal bad. I'm just like, are you serious, bro?
I know.
Like,
I know. I know.
hello.
I cannot get over how much she looks like our cat. I mean, I'm sure it's like a common breed, but like the eye color, the hair color, everything is like identical. And he was really, really sweet. He was like the angsty teenager
You know,
that would do something really bad, but then come and like give you the biggest hug ever. Like that's like he was so loving that it was hard to stay mad at him, but he was such a shit. He would jump on my countertops in my kitchen. He would open all the cabinets and like pull food down, like whole loaves of bread. I had to put the child locks
because of the cat.
because of my cat. He did not deserve to die. He was a good cat.
Have you ever seen those videos where cats and they're like, it was specifically, I think, a coffee cup. And the cat was sitting here kind of like pushing it
Yeah.
towards the end of the table. And then the human's like, don't you do it. And the cat like looks at him and goes, wham, and just knocks it off. Those are so like cats have the biggest dickhead personality. Like, I don't need you, human. You clean my litter box.
I tried to teach mine to use the toilet. Like
Did it work?
no, it didn't work. It didn't work. I tried. I tried actually pretty hard too.
How did you do
There's
it?
like there's like a system you buy. Like there's a whole thing where you put it on like you put
On the
this
toilet seat
yeah,
and
you
it
put
slowly
this
gets bigger,
yes,
right?
yeah, it's like a circle and then you make it you slowly make it bigger. Like
Yeah.
a larger opening.
So they learned to sit on the actual toilet seat and
Mine would not do it.
yeah.
We tried and tried and tried. Oh, well, I say we. I don't know. I tried.
I just make sure to clean the litter box every day.
Well, see, did they get it? Do your dogs get into it?
No, but it's up there.
Okay.
That's
So
why it's up
my
high
huskies
like that.
loved.
No,
we
they
called them
they
kitty
love cat poop.
crunchies.
They love cat poop.
Oh,
Don't get me
we
wrong.
called
If
them
they
the
find
kitty crunchy.
if they find the neighborhood cat's poop outside, they'll freaking eat it. Or Gus will roll in it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Princess used to eat it all the time.
And it's gonna
God,
make you
dude,
sick.
Piss me off. I'm like, don't kiss me, dog. Ugh.
I just can't handle even the litter getting everywhere. Like I was like, even if I kept it clean, I felt like the litter still got all over my house somehow. Maybe I just had really messy cat.
It does. I mean, but I clean this house once a week. So.
Well, I was gonna say, like, total compliment. Like, your house smells great in here. Like, it doesn't.
Well,
I
it got
wouldn't.
cleaned today.
Well, I know, but I didn't. I wouldn't have known there was a.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice there was a litter box there. Like, I wouldn't have.
But the litter box is one of those things that I almost feel like I have. Like if one of our dogs poops in the house and I see it, I have to clean it up. I cannot leave it there. Like I've known people that will leave dog shit, just leave it there for
In the house?
however long in the house. Yeah. Like I don't know how they do it. I can't do it. I have to clean it up.
Yeah.
If they pee or something, I have to clean it up. I almost have to clean that litter box at least
Like every time they
once a
use
day.
it.
Most of the time it's in the morning. I've just
Yeah.
gotten into a habit
Yeah.
of doing it, and it's not every time.
Yeah. See, ours was so long ago. I was probably just kind of lazy about it. Like, I was just really busy probably and didn't. But I would keep ours. I think we kept it in the laundry room for a while.
Well, see, if we keep it low, the dogs will get into it.
Yeah.
That's why it's up high.
Mhm. I remember Chris at our old house. He even did this. We've done some dumb things. Like he he actually cut a hole in the wall and put like a kitty door, but it went into like we built like a wood box that was in the garage, and it worked really well. But then when we went to sell the house, it's like we have this hole in our wall going to the garage. And it was a great idea until we got mice in the house
Hmm.
from the garage.
So they were coming in through that hole.
I'll never forget, I had the washer, I like the dishwasher had like the silverware tray on the top row.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I went to open it, like it was like 5 a.m., maybe 6 a.m. I don't know. It was really early in the morning. And I went to like open it up and a mouse like jumped off of that tray, like basically onto me at like 5 in the morning. And I'm just like screaming. And I'm not even the woman who like screams over mice. Like I
You were
see
that morning.
because it scared me. I was not, it wasn't because it was a mouse. It was
Yeah.
because it random animals jumping out at me into my face at 5 in the morning. I was like, what if anyway,
That would scare me too.
it scared the daylights out of me, and I did actually scream the other day when I saw a mouse. I did. But again, is that a habit or is that like because like I don't know, I think mice are kind of
That's a
cute.
surprise.
I think it's mostly
I think
because it was a
mice are cute.
surprise. Like when people are like, "Oh, they're so gross." I'm like, "Yes, they probably have all the diseases and everything, but they're actually really cute."
I actually thoroughly hate those mouse traps that people use.
I know
the
they're
ones where
so
they get
violent.
stuck
They're so well, all
to
of it.
The glue.
But also, what else do you do? Because
I understand. That's what cats are.
cat in my house.
I understand that.
I don't.
I get that.
I'm finally like a hair-free house.
Guess what? We don't have mice,
Yeah. No, I bet.
but we have
Well-
a bunch of neighborhood cats too. Like
We have a ton of we have a lot of construction. I don't know where they come from, but we have a lot of like fields and stuff.
well, they come from the fields. They live
Well,
in
we
the
have
fields.
so we back up to a green belt. Our house is why we picked the lot we got. Because there's small lots. We don't. I mean, our yard is good size, but it's not like we don't have a ton of space. Our neighbors are
Yeah.
pretty close, right? But we back up to a green belt that's really beautiful, and we can't see our neighbors behind us at all during the summer months. In the winter, obviously, there's no leaves, so you can see back there. But no, we get some critters. It's not been as bad as I was expecting. Like we've lived there 3 years, so I keep thinking one of these days I'm gonna see a snake. Because we have our back fence, because we wanted to be able to see the green belt, we put up the black metal fence instead of a full fence.
Yeah.
So there's massive holes. Like you can get
Yeah. A snake can easily slither.
I think Basil, I think he would. I feel like he'd try to handle that if he saw a snake, though. I feel like he would. He's very protective.
But most of the snakes that you're going to come across are probably just your average everyday garden snake. Like you're not going to get a water moccasin slithering into your yard.
Why is that what I always go to, though? Like I'm terrified of it. Like snakes don't really like scare me, like bother me. Like I don't go, oh my God, snakes. But again, I think it's the surprising factor. But if I think about it being
Absolutely.
like a water moccasin or something dangerous, yeah, it scares me, especially with my kids playing in the backyard. I'm like, oh. My dad was telling me I should probably put up like a chicken wire,
Chicken wire
something.
along the bottom.
And I'm like, but that's not cute. Well, fine, let the snake in then.
I want to solve the problem, but I want it to be a cute solution.
Yeah, it needs to be cute.
I like how you say it.
Well, like the persona, That's another thing. Chris gets onto me. Your version of a dirty house is actually a really clean house compared to everybody else. And I'm like, yeah, my parents very much ingrained that in me.
Rachel's like that. She's like, oh my God, our house is so dirty. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I can't handle clutter. So we have this big island in our kitchen, and as long as that's cleared off, I don't really mind everything else. And like, yeah, my guest room is like a total that's like the catch-all. It's our office / guest room / all my art supply, all my craft supplies are all in there. All the birthday stuff, everything goes in there.
That's what our extra room is.
I mean, it does get used. We have people sleep in there all the time, but it's that's bad. That's really bad. And I'm like, what happens when you get a bigger house and then you still fill it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because we buy useless shit.
We've become plant whores.
Plant whores.
We have
Yeah, but plants
A
plants
l-
is a different thing. Plants is not clutter.
No, it's not. But
Plants
you
is
go into
life.
my you go into my kitchen and formal dining room, and there's plants
Yeah.
everywhere, which I love. I mean, I'm not complaining. I would keep. Chris has actually built me this beautiful. He built me like a wood table, like a little, like a skinny table that goes in front of our window
Uh-huh. Yeah.
to add, like, to have more, like more. And he actually built me a shelf too. I have a corner, like a really beautiful corner shelf that he built me, and it's covered in plants. There's nothing else on it except for plants.
This one house we clean, these people, they have plants in the window, but they sit on something that is plugged in. I
Hmm.
want to say,
Plugged in.
yeah, I don't think it's a heating pad.
Okay.
Um, I want to say it's something that sends electrical impulses for the plants. Because you know
That's
how they
cute.
get, from the
Yeah.
earth and everything. Like
Yeah.
there's electromagnetic
Oh,
field
like
and
a
like the
grounding.
grounding. Like I think maybe it's a grounding type thing that you put
never heard of
underneath
that
your
with
indoor
plants.
plants.
Okay.
That's what I've decided. I haven't asked the lady. I don't know why I haven't
Yeah,
asked
you need to
her.
ask her. I'm
Um,
curious.
but that's what I'm guessing is that it's some sort of grounding type thing.
I don't quite understand that concept. My friend, who's like, she's really into like a lot of the same things that I am, but she's more like she's really into it, and I love it because she's like a piece, like a book of knowledge for me. Her name's Heather. She's in my neighborhood, and I love her. She told me she has like a grounding blanket that she has on each one of her children's bed that plugs into the wall. And I'm like, I don't understand, but I guess it's somehow
It's
like
electricity.
it's connected to the ground, like the earth. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but
I've
I
heard of some people that actually run like a metal wire from outside on attached to the ground in through their wall and like connect it somehow to their bed. I've heard
that's
of that.
probably something similar to what Heather's doing then with
It's
the
probably
blanket that
exactly similar
yeah.
to it. Yeah, absolutely. I
I'm just
mean,
like, how does that work?
electricity is electricity, no matter if it's flowing through your wall, if it's flowing through the ground into your feet. Like,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
that flow of energy.
No, I love
How it works scientifically, couldn't tell you. I'm not a scientist.
no way. No. There's so many more things I need to learn. That's like my big every day I'm like, gosh, I like feel like I want to learn this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then I'm like, how did the day already go? And you didn't make time for that, or you don't have that's the thing I'm like right now is my focus. Like, okay, let's find our passion. Let's like take time to do the things we actually enjoy. And I do it. It's just like I want to do more. I don't know. I think I have sometimes I have to take a step back and go, okay, you know what? You're in a season of life where you have two small kids that rely on you a lot. And I just think this is just my life forever and I'm never gonna take a step back and learn certain things. I'm like, no, you really are, because when you're not working, you feel like, okay, I'm not contributing, right? Because I'm not financially contributing. And Chris tells me all the time, like, I couldn't do the things that I do without you doing what you do. And I'm so grateful that he has that outlook and that perspective. Like it's really incredible to
He's a
me.
good dude.
Yeah. I'm a kept woman, as I say. I'm a kept woman.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women are important in our lives.
Yeah. I just yeah. And you just want to do better though. Be better and do more and maybe next time we talk I'll have my passion figured out.
And I think one of the things I told Chris whenever we talked is like, I completely understand a woman can build you up, but a woman can also tear you down at the same time. Like the restaurant that I'll tell you about after we're
Yeah.
off the air.
Uh-huh.
So I want to have a chandelier in it.
Mhm.
I don't know how to make this. Like I would have to get with an artist, a sculptor somehow to do it. But I want a chandelier in it. But what I want is a male masculine arm coming out from like the ceiling, holding it, and then from above his hand, a little chain goes up to a loop, and then from the other side of the wall, a woman's hand comes out, but she's only got like just two fingers barely touching that top one, holding him up, like
That's
just
so cool.
representing. Does that make sense? How that represents that?
Yeah.
Because
I
at the
love
same
vision
time,
of
with
that.
ease, she can lift him up, but all she's got to do is let go, and he'll fall. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a cool sculpture,
That would
a
be
cool
cool.
chandelier.
That'd be really cool. I love
And when I
chandeliers.
when I tell you where the restaurant will be
Yeah. Ah, that's so fun.
But like I said, I don't want to say it because
Yeah, no,
I
no.
do not want someone to take my idea. Like
No.
I've thought about this thoroughly so much. This one specific place. So
Chris and I have talked about building a compound and having like building like a really beautiful greenhouse that could be used for events and maybe like yoga. And then I'm like, what if I do like coffee or like tea in it? I had a not it wasn't she wasn't a tarot reader because she did things different, but I had a reader do a reading on me and she's like, you're supposed to do something with healing. You're supposed to do it with like I keep hearing tea, like all your spirit guides keep saying the word tea. And I looked at her and I said, well, I own an Herbalife store and that is not my forever. So don't tell me
don't tell me.
don't tell me that's the kind of tea you're talking about. But I thought that was really interesting. And so we kind of played around with the idea of curating like herbal teas specific to like a trauma or specific to a person, like custom making like a tea. I kind of played around with the idea
There'd
of
be a
that.
lot of science.
I know, and I don't even know. I don't even know where to like begin with that. But I thought it was a neat idea.
That's what I love about dreams, though, is you don't
Yeah.
have to know.
Right.
You don't have to know.
I know. You just have to
You
have
just
the
kinda
balls
do-
to
You just
to
kind of
take a
got to
step.
start doing it.
Yeah.
And then like things kind of fall into line if you're on
Exactly.
the right path.
You just have to listen to those cues to know that you're in alignment. Um, it's weird, like when you take a step back and you go, okay, I'm trying to force this, but like, what is your body saying? Is it a full yes? Is it not? And I'm like, I'm waiting for that like screaming yes. And so sometimes you still question it, like, gosh, I thought this was my yes.
See, I don't think there's ever a screaming yes. I think they're all just whispers. And that's your little nut. Like that's so
But it also depends on how you take things in.
yeah. Yeah, but I also think that the universe works in a way where it just kind of nudges you in the direction you've got to figure it out.
Yeah.
The universe just gives you a little push in that
And
direction.
people in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
There's not a single person.
But like I said, I don't think there's any screaming like, "Hey, over here, over here,
like
come this
I
way."
just want my body to be like, yes, bitch, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, yes, this is so good for you. This feels perfect. This feels right. Like I've had those moments and then I'm like, well, is it not is it failing or is it not happening because I am allowing it to slip through my fingers like I'm not putting in the effort or is it not happening because it's really not meant for me? Like I don't always know because sometimes it's well, the imposter syndrome saying I can't do it or I'm not good enough for that or I'm not worthy for that. Um but like this bank job, this opportunity that I got, like I really didn't know. I was like if I could get a job that paid the number that I was asking, that would be really substantial for my family. I would be able to contribute. I do love customer service. Like I love that profession. I love the professionalism. Sometimes gives me purpose. Like that makes me feel good when I can like really take care of people in like a professional manner. But that's like one side of me. Like I'm like Mr. Whatever, Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Whatever,
Dr. Jekyll, Mr.
Dr.
Hyde.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like that is me. Like I'm so many things. Like I'm so many different. Like one day I'm like a hippie. The next day I can wear a suit and go hobnob with Chris at a realtor event and really enjoy my time and really enjoy my conversation with people. And then I can turn around and sit here and bullshit with you. Like it's weird to me that those are still both me. And I think sometimes you have to accept that. But I've thought in the past, like, you're a fraud or you're not like really this, but really these
I
are
think
all
that just
parts
means
of
that
me.
you're genuine, though.
Yeah.
Like that's why you can do it in both situations, is because in both situations,
Yeah, I'm not
you're
being fake,
genuinely you.
but it's weird because it's like two different or maybe not two, like multiple kinds of people. Like I am a chameleon. Like I can do and it's not I'm not trying to be fake. I'm not trying to be it's just part of my personality. Like I can just fit in with people. Like I can just get along with people. I get along well with people.
Yeah.
I feel like some people, not everybody. I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that I have smaller circles. Like I want smaller circles. like
smaller circle.
like
yeah.
friend wise.
No, absolutely. No, I completely understand.
Career wise, like it's nice to be able to be in a lot of circles. Like Chris's job, I mean, this is like it's a non-stop thing. We're always, and he was like, think about it. If you got this bank job, you'd be going to these events with me, like with your own career. And it's like on one side of that, I was like, I'd love to be able to spend time with you. But on the other, I was like, I don't know if I want more events like that. Like, I don't know that I want to be busier than I already am. And so it was really kind of a struggle back and forth. So I really didn't want to admit it, but I was a little bit relieved, I guess, when they didn't accept my offer because I just really wasn't positive that I was like, what if I hate it? But then Chris was like, well, if you hate it, you just don't do it. Like, go into it, try it. It's a good opportunity. I think there's a lot of parts of it you'd love, and if you don't like it, then you can quit. And I'm like, yeah, but last time I did that, I spent 14 years at the same job. So anyway, it's hard to navigate all that.
No, absolutely.
It's
life,
it's
girl.
the human experience,
Mhm.
right? Like we're all just here trying to figure it out every day.
You know, that's what I was took Cohen. I was talking to Cohen, which is Rachel's nephew.
Yeah, the 15-year-old you're talking about.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but I was talking about, I was like, man, I'm 42 years old and I'm just like you, man. I'm just trying to figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Like there's no, I've got it figured out. Here we go. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even
You
rich,
keep thinking it's gonna happen.
yeah. I mean, even rich people who are super successful and happy in life, like they're still just figuring it out on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
You're right. It's so wild to me. Like you keep thinking like, oh, and this century, or not this decade, like I'm gonna figure it out. When I turn 40, I'm gonna know. When I turn 30, I'm gonna know. No, it's
no,
like,
you're not.
am I gonna know when I'm 80? And like, who knows? But it's all the perspective. Can you take that as an opportunity to have fun and not take it too serious? And that's like always hard for me. Like I want to do the fun. Like I want to just take the fun side. It was really hard to switch my brain from no, you work 8 to 6 every day and you don't take days off and you don't call in sick and that was so weird for me to get out of. It took me like a full year to get my shoulders out of my ears after leaving Chase. I'm not joking. Like my body still struggles sometimes. I mean, I've been doing it lately and I'm like, why are you doing this? But yeah, you're just like, we're still just trying to figure it out.
That's it. I mean, everybody is like, some people are dumber than others, but
Yeah. Yeah, of course that, we're given opportunities and different experiences, different family dynamic, things that you
Yeah.
have.
I'm kind of veering away from that whole like this person has it better than me,
'Cause
or this person has it better than me, or I have it better.
we
than
all
this
have
person.
problems.
Absolutely, everybody has problems, but man, this country specifically, this country, like you can literally become a millionaire by being on YouTube. I mean, I guess you can do that anywhere in the world, really, but
Yeah.
it's really easy to do it here compared to other places. Like people who live in America have pretty easy, and I think that a lot of
Yeah.
times people forget that. Like we're not a third world country, man. We're pretty top rated. Like a lot of people want to come here.
I know.
Like,
And
why are you bitching?
there's a lot of countries that, really have it better than us. Like we have this mentality that we're the best of the best, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
We don't. But yeah. I mean, as a whole, and I'm not blasphemy on the country. I mean,
no, I love America.
I love America, and I'm so grateful. There are situations. I have so many friends that have come from other countries they remind you, like, listen, you don't even have a clue
Yeah.
what other people are going through. And you don't know if your house is going to get bombed tomorrow. And it's like, we could have that. That could be our future. That could easily happen. Obviously, that's a huge discussion right now.
Mhm.
Politics with the election coming up. And I, not,
Stay happy, spiritual, we're not
I'm
gonna
not
get
even,
politics.
honestly, I would never even, I'm not educated enough on politics to even speak on it. I'm not, I kind of do that on purpose. I don't want to be dumb, but I also, it's not my focal point. I think it's all pretty jacked up. So, um, but yeah, no, I think it's important to go other places and see other things and see people and see how they live. And that's like a big goal of ours, is to travel more and to travel with the kids. Like, because our kids,
Experience, let them have the experience
yeah,
of seeing other cultures, which I think is great.
yeah.
I think is
There's a
fantastic.
there's a fine line between, like, again, like remembering that they don't really understand even if you're mad, like, you have it so good. You don't know what it's like for people. I'm going to show you how bad it can be, like they still don't know. Like, they're kids, but then it's like a line. Like, what do I do? I got to teach you morals. I have to teach you gratitude. I have to teach you these things, but also let them be kids. It's tough. It's really hard being a parent. It's really hard raising humans.
I can only imagine how hard it is nowadays. Like me and Rachel, sometimes we see things on TV or something that happens on the news, or we have a friend that's dealing with something specific with their kid, and it just reminds us, like, man, I'm like kind of good not having a child in this
Yeah.
specific situation. I mean, just fucking social media alone, the confidence that you now have to teach your kid
Yeah.
that they somehow have to figure out that they're good enough.
Mhm.
Otherwise, this is going to teach them so much of how bad they are because they don't live this 24-hour free lifestyle of making videos all day long,
Or
Like
just
it's
all how we post the most happy
yeah.
parts of our lives, and
Mhm.
people go, "Oh, well, their life's great, my life sucks."
Mhm.
And, the
The
dopamine and the, like,
comparison to other people.
yes, it's just the dopamine suck of all that, and it's so terrible, which is like, I catch myself doing it too, but man, yeah, that's why I don't get there's, like, I'm trying to do, we didn't even talk about this. I have started being a travel agent as well. And yeah, I know a big part of my job is to post things and show myself in places and put things out there for trips. And I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this part of it. But it's how my business will be successful in that manner. So it's all about creating boundaries, no matter what it is. Like, boundaries and in moderation, I guess. Everything in moderation. But yeah, my daughter already asked me she already wants to wear makeup because she said it'll make her more beautiful. And I'm like, I don't know where you're learning that from. Like, yes, I wear makeup. Yes, I do. Like, yeah, I doll myself up and I do all that. But I'm like, where are you learning this? You're only 5. Like, I'm like, and that's a concern of mine. Like, you're beautiful the way you are, babe. Like, yeah, like if you want to wear lipstick, I'll put some lipstick on you. If you want to put some sparkly eyeshadow on, like, I want you to have fun and dress up and feel pretty and do all that. But like, also, you're a stunning little girl, like, just as you are. Like, it's wild to me that we're even already having that conversation.
At 5, wow, that is a big one.
Because I'm like, have I taught her that because because Chris and I, we have a lot of galas, we have a lot of events that we dress
Get dolled
up
up.
for. But like on a daily basis, since I've been out of the bank, like, I don't wear mascara every day. I mean, half the time I look like a bum, seriously. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. Um, so I don't know. I don't know why she thinks that. So it's interesting because I'm like, navigating raising kids, and like you said, especially now, everything they see, all the YouTube, like, we had to put strong boundaries with the YouTube videos with my son because I'm like, you're 7, now he's 8, and you're talking back to me, oh, did you watch some teenager talk like that on YouTube? It's like, it's just ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, you're not even learning anything right now. You're watching another kid play with a toy on YouTube. We're not doing that. So everything has time limits. Also, our kids don't watch TV or play video games during the school week at all. They don't get to watch TV. The only time it happens is if, like, we have an event that night and we have a babysitter. We might let them watch TV while the babysitter's there before bed, but they don't watch it during the week at all because I see what it does to my kids. Like, their brain, my son especially, he's
Soaks it up.
Yeah, and he's
whether
already
it be
like
negative or
hyper and
positive.
yeah, and he's all hyper and like, whatever. And he's just he's so much better of a kid. Like he listens so much better and he's also so much more respectful and we have less tantrums. We just don't have the issues whenever we focus on that. And anyway, yeah, I could go I could go on a whole soapbox about
Mhm.
no, we're good. Okay,
Well, we're getting close
8:45.
to the
Okay.
end then. Anyway,
But just the passion that I have for like the food that they eat and the things that they watch.
Hmm.
It's like I'm not that parent that's like, "Oh no, my kid can't have a red cupcake at school." Like I will never do that. I won't do that to him. But like also when I'm at the grocery store, I'm looking at
Not buying shitty food.
buying stuff that has the coloring in it, and they still get it. Again, I'm not even at home. They still sometimes get it.
Well, I mean,
Um,
honestly,
but
even with vegetables and stuff, you're still getting chemicals that you don't want.
it's
And,
so
you know,
crazy to me. And so you can literally make yourself insane thinking about all of that.
you can.
So for me, it's moderation and like what are the little steps that I can do that won't make me feel crazy? Like looking at meats that don't have nitrate in them. Looking at food that doesn't have red, red 40 in it or the yellow, whatever. I think all those are um
Honestly, me and Rachel stick to the outside of the store.
yeah.
Like,
And that's really smart. Uh chemicals, the way that we clean is a big one in my house. I make my own, like my disinfectant wipes, like what I clean with, what I wipe my counters with every day, I make. I have simple, it's rubbing alcohol, white vinegar, water, and then I add some like either fresh lemon juice or an essential oil
mhm.
to give it a little bit of a scent where it's not just vinegar
Yeah,
and rubbing
I
alcohol.
can see that.
But it's not a lot. It really doesn't change it that much. But I make those microfiber towels. You roll them up. I put them in a sealed tight container. The way you roll them, you're able to pull from the center just like a disinfectant wipe. I mean, I have to make them once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week if I'm cleaning a lot.
That's cool.
And it's like an easy thing. That and when I clean all of like my fruits and vegetables, same thing. Baking soda, sprinkle baking soda, white vinegar, it gets helps get all the chemicals off the veggies, the fruits and the veggies instead of using even like a veggie spray. Those are two things that I do in my house regularly to try to cut down on the chemicals.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not gonna be insane about it. I'm not gonna not buy potato chips or
Well, like you said, you could drive yourself crazy
you can't and
thinking about
it's
all
like a
this.
slow process, right?
Yeah.
I feel like for me, as long as I do it little bits at a time, I'm more consistent about keeping up with the things I've already learned. Whenever I start to try to do a bunch of stuff at once, that's when I fall off the wagon because I'm like, I don't have time for this. But they cleaning wipes, cleaning my veggies that way. I use baking soda and white vinegar in my laundry too, but I do laundry detergent. I tried to make laundry detergent, it didn't go out. It didn't go well. I would like to try it again, but I don't know. It didn't go well. Chris also hates when I don't use dryer sheets.
Okay.
Because he hates the static. That was a big fight in our house probably about 10 years ago. Trying to use the balls, like the wool balls.
Mhm.
So we do buy dryer sheets, and I'm like, these are so bad for you. They're so bad for you. The chemicals that it puts on your clothes that you then put on your body, it's like it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous.
No.
But yeah,
Since we're getting towards the end,
yeah,
we'll end like I end with everybody.
okay.
What is something that you've learned?
Something
What's a
that
piece of
that I
advice
haven't
that you
already
could,
told you.
yeah, that you haven't learned? It could be something specific that we talked about. Or what is something you learned? A piece of advice that you can give to people that you've learned throughout life.
There's so many things, but
I hear that a lot.
what would I okay, something that I really have maybe already touched on is that kind of really remembering like what we already talked about of remembering like everybody's going through something. So taking a step back when you're choosing to be angry or even just frustrated or maybe not seeing somebody's side of things, like really taking a step back and instead of looking at to them what the problem is, look at yourself and say, okay, why is this affecting me so much?
Mhm.
what opportunity do I have to grow from that? Why did that person cut me off really bother me so bad? Why did I get so angry with my kid over that? Because those are all just learning like opportunities to grow in who you are. So really just flipping the switch. That's my advice. Like look inward and say, okay, yeah, that person might be crazy or that might have been a bad situation, but why did it affect me so much? Why did I allow that to affect me? And take that moving forward to be a better version of yourself, because it's the less stress we have in our bodies, the longer we're going to live, the happier we're going to be, the better person we're going to be, and we can lift others up by being better versions of ourselves. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I like you.
Yeah.
Very spiritual lady.
I like you too. I haven't seen you forever. It's so awesome. I mean, other than the other day.
Yeah.
So
It's good to see you again.
yeah,
I
this has
told
been awesome.
I had told Chris whenever he was on, I was like, I'm definitely gonna have your wife on at one point in time.
Well, I was really nervous about it at first. I was like, I was so nervous. I was like, what are we going to talk about? But it
Yeah,
was
plenty.
it was an opportunity for growth. Just be okay and roll with the punches and just have a conversation and be myself. So that's what I tried to
And I
do.
guarantee you we'll do this again.
Okay, I hope so.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Crystal Baker, ladies and gentlemen.